Says hello. Says I'm great. How about you? Says you ducks me. Says can I ask you, Sven? Hello, Teach. Says how does the I am the hair thing work? How can you draw it over the hair and it still looks good? Says guess who I literally am.
Opera GX. Trying to play a game while you're watching your favorite YouTuber on the side, and then boom.
Says I got sick sadly. Says the allergies got to me mad. Says I sent that drawing over Instagram. Says I think I might goofed in certain spots though. Says new art style. Says if you need me to, I can send the reference as well. Says good afternoon, everyone. Says hi, how you doing today? Says in bright or close hallow. Says man still doing the request. Says well, it's looking good.
Ariane. Teach when you have time. Would it be possible to show how to draw the foot that's crossed over? I was unsure how to draw that part. Says well, teacher, what is the art tip of the day? Says oh.
Says it high mark. Says I like that. Says hi. Says Kano was inviting you to watch him stream. You missed it this morning, but he might do it again Says tonight, maybe. WSGG.
The new school is rooted in skateboarding, but is reminiscent of another era.
Says Artextric Hi Aaron.
Ariane.
Says at Crimson Hi Crimson.
Actually, I have a question. Given how her legs are, how do I cross them? I could get one foot in the right position, but the other looks sort of wacky.
Says at Brighter Close Hello Bry. Says yeah, that part confused you. Says me I mean.
Ariane. Given how her back was, I wasn't sure to foreshorten it close to her shoulder or widen it a bit more.
Says do you think drawing side profiles are hard? Says yeah. I was going to ask someone on Discord about the back as well. Can't see the well with her. Says you're doing a great job.
Ariane. That foot looks sort of extended up, I think, is what also confused me. Ariane. What about the second foot?
Says to show it's upward, what I shaded to show it's laying upward. Says I've never seen you trace before. Says can't quite see it teach. Says thanks. Says hey. Says home since 4 o'clock.
Ariane. Would it also be possible to show where I should foreshorten her back? I couldn't quite tell cause of what she was laying on, so figuring out her accurate chest position to show she's laying on her chest, which I couldn't see too well. But trying to show she's laying on it.
Says probably gonna go to bed at 10. Says I'll have some rest now. See you teach. Stay safe. Says have a good stream till Ema take a mini nap.
Ariane. You mean I don't need to show she's laying on her breasts? Cause I was trying to get a visual if she had short hair. Ariane. Cause with some poses I've seen where they're laying the chest is shown but looks squished.
Says a gotcha that makes more sense. Says teach. Says you gotta scoot us. Says aha now that makes more sense when you drew those X.
Ariane. Would her neck bend a little since her shoulder is stretched out?
Says given the pose I think she's looking directly at us. Says or close to it. Says yeah, her hand was a little hard to see. Says did you say at a tilt? Says gotcha. Says where do I start as a beginner? Says they said to have her hand showing as well to figure out hand placement as well. Says the one that's closest to her face. Says I should buy a book I won't remember what you told me. Says I tried to somewhat draw the energy line but couldn't quite spot it. Says what are you doing?
Ariane. Can you move it over a little?
Says yeah, I think I've seen some artists use that method.
Sucking on, chill it out. 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 Sucking on, chill it out.
Says I'm back sorry. Says would I draw it the same way if she's barefoot as well? Says hello doodler extremist here and learned a lot quickly. Says nice drawing. Says yeah, I'm named after Mariah Carey. Says still good. Says that triangle in her waist also shows me how to draw the waist more correctly.
Ariane. I think what threw me was I couldn't tell if I had to raise or lower her bum. Nightbot. Be a support hero today. By
Says
using
okay.
commands like /donation and /cash app.
Says thanks teach that works. Says TBH, I couldn't even tell what perspective that character was even in. Says, yeah, I've heard some artists struggle with one end-to-point perspective. Says Teach.
Jeez.
Good job.
Says I've gotten better at it.
Whoa!
It's just those sort of poses I can't find the horizon line sometimes. Says I forgot what I wanted to talk to you about yesterday, lol. Says, oh wait, I remember, lol, I forgot that's why, ha. Says hi, Bri. Says that's an interesting way to find the horizon line. I never knew about this one.
Oh my god,
Says
it's
thank you for
corn.
DA gifts.
Suck it on, chill it out.
Did somebody say
Ryo.
ice cream?
Sorry I'm so late.
You're perfectly fine. You're fine. You're fine. I'm too busy teaching anyway. I think. Okay, let me find something with a background.
Thank you, Beanbag, for sending one X finger
Something
heart.
with a background. Let me see. Fine, I'll just look for one. Jesus, I'll just stop being lazy. Alright, let me go up to Pinterest real quick, because let me get something.
Says like if they're laying on their back on an angle is what completely confuses me.
If they're laying directly on their back, it's like they're standing. If a character is like laying on their back, they're usually just standing. their legs are just cut off. Or their legs aren't cut off and they're just literally like it's funny. It's like they're floating.
Says Teach, can you explain drawing the eyes in different angles?
Sure. 1 second. Oh, here's one. I can use this. This is perfect. I can use this. This can kind of work. Okay, let's use this as an example.
Says I. Says meow.
Meow. Meow meow. Okay, let's use this
Says
as an
woof.
example. Okay, so we have. Oh wait, is this with? Okay, good. It's not with herself. Okay, good. I didn't want this in the video anyway. So like, say we can't find the.
Says and I am a happy camper, finally getting my flowers planted. Lol.
Yay! Well. Okay, so right here, say like we don't know what the perspective is. The only way we can find the perspective is that we can look at. Let's look at this drawer here. So we take a line. I think Bri might remember me doing something like this. We can take the line and be like this. Well, actually, we're gonna make it smaller. Sadly, we have to make this very small because, as I told yesterday, the smaller.
Says isn't that looking down at her kind of?
Yeah, but we are looking down at her. I would say that the horizon line is a bit. Is it low? I think the horizon line is low. So we're looking down at her. So like right here, I'm gonna use a red because it's hard to see it. We're gonna use a red color. I'm gonna go like this as best as I can, and then use the other and do like this. And because they hit in this particular direction, I'm just using this as an example. It doesn't actually have to be
Says
accurate
at first
enough.
I thought it was a middle horizon line until I took a second closer look.
And then what we'll do is grab this, and that's our horizon line right there. It's there. 1, 2. Horizon line is there. Our horizon, we're looking down on the character because the horizon line is up. Hey, am I saying that right?
Ryle. Is today another chill day?
I want to say no and I won't say yes. I wanted to do reactions, but I don't know if I'll be able to.
Says I think someone once mentioned something about a neutral horizon line.
A neutral horizon line is literally just a horizon line in the middle. That's literally what that is. That's literally what that is. 1, 2. It really depends on where the horizon line is. If you know where the horizon line is, it makes it much easier to figure out where everything should go or should look like based on angle. Let me see. Is there anything I can use? There's this one. I can use this one too. If it's harder to see.
Says yeah, cause someone told me if they're laying on their back and the head is closest, it's a looking up.
I think that's correct. I'm trying to visualize that in my head. So like if we take this drawing here, we're gonna use this chair.
Says pose, I think.
Use this chair. Here.
When you start streaming, I'm done.
Son of a bitch.
I know, right?
Watch the y'all.
Nothing.
Look at you. Little Len.
Yeah, but most times with my return will be a little bit more, maybe.
How much you get returned?
$9.
What?
Then they took it away.
I mean, they took it away.
And they gave me 21.
Who?
the website. So I'm going to say it was $9. Then it went up 21, went back to 9.
21.
21.
21.
21.
21. Savage. 21.
20 for real. It was gaslighting the Even Mom said, didn't I not say $9 earlier? I'm like,
That's our horizon line right there. So because the chair is going into the distance like this, I know where our horizon line is. As you can see, this horizon line is correct because we can't see the top of her head like that, and we're not seeing the bottom of her skirt. So this is a neutral line. Does that make sense to anyone who's here? The only way this works is if you find a straight line. You can use the curved lines, but that's going to be a lot more difficult. But I would use something more straight edge if possible. I think even in the reflection here, I can use that as my example.
Says yes now, it does once you explain that in more depth.
Oops. There's a reflection here. Right here. And then right here. And look at that. Bam. It once again, even in the reflection, look, that's a reflection in the mirror. And it still hits the horizon line. Oops. Yeah, I think a little bit more slant like that. There we go. About there. There you go. So yeah, it's correct. Even if I go off top, even if I go off the screen, it should hit that horizon line. All the lines.
Says be aware that you are being monitored by the United States Special Forces and DELT, a force.
Gotcha.
Says lol, I feel like with those poses you'd need a literal laser.
Yeah, you'll need a laser. You'll need a line. When you're doing this traditionally, sadly, you will have to use a piece of paper and a ruler.
Says
if you want to
lol.
be really precise, which is a pain in the booty cheeks. This is why most people go digital, because they don't have to deal with this. There is a thing that's here that you can use.
Says why are the comments talking?
Because they can.
because they're sentient.
They're sentient.
Says yeah, that's what people have told me lol.
So yeah. There you go. I don't know what that's about. Okay. Anyway, so that's pretty much what perspective can work out in these situations. This will be a bit more difficult to deal with, but because we're so close, I don't think there's need for a perspective line too much. But if it is, I will say it's 1 point to 2 point perspective, but I will say 1 point, probably. Just to be clear, if you master these 8 things, you will ultimately develop 2 things that most people desire. Number 1, it is understanding of anatomy. And then number 2 is the one that everyone all wants. It is the art style. Because art style is basically the understanding on how to construct something in such a way that not only that you can tell what it is being drawn, but it's in your own particular way and how you perceive it. So the way you perceive it is the way you're going to draw it. That's why you can have someone who draws in a Dragon Ball.
Says and the worst of them all.
And this is why someone who draws in more Dragon Ball-esque art style can draw something like a can. And then someone who's...
I think someone also asked if you could show how to draw eyes in different angles.
Yes, I was going to get to
Says
that.
stealing cookies.
Let's see here. Right here. So what we're going to do that. I want to put this in here. So, oops. So what we're gonna do is that if you draw eyes...
Says, did someone ask you how to draw eyes in different perspectives?
Yes. 9 times out of 10 to draw eyes, it really depends on the head placement. But if you're drawing just eyes, you can do it like this, but you always have to keep one rule that's always intact. The eyes should always be the same size at all costs, no matter what. So,
says, my bad, sorry. TT's was lagging.
So right here, the eyes are here and here, right? So what's going to happen is that I want to make sure that the eyes are the same height. You don't want them to be distorting like this. A lot of people draw their anime eyes like this when they're first starting because they think it looks cool and it looks dynamic, which it is if you're purposely distorting, but a lot of you do this on purpose when starting how to draw anime eyes and think it looks cool. And trust me, it does look cool in its own way, but really it's not accurate at all. It's going to look really wonky and strange, and then they'll have it looking like this most cases, when really you're supposed to draw it like this.
Says that also works a little with male anime eyes.
Like this. They're supposed to be the same size no matter what. Even if they're on an angle, what you want to do is make sure that the foreshortening's there, but the height is still in place as well. So the eyes are like this. It is more slant, so we see less of the eye. But because it's more slant, we see more of this eye, but it's not bigger. It just seems to be bigger, but it's not. They're the same eye. This is like a lot with the whole perspective thing. Just because something's in the distance doesn't mean they're not the same height. They are the same height. It's like if you take two 6 foot men, right, and have one 6 foot man back up, he's gonna look shorter compared to the one that's closest, because whatever's closest to you will look bigger, and whatever's furthest will look smaller. So if I keep drawing this circle into the distance, the smaller I draw it, the more in the distance it goes. So if I make a giant ball here, it looks bigger by default because it's in front. So that's how you can keep, and I can even put a line here, and you can see it's going to the distance. Oops. Oh.
Says, I think someone told me if the head is at an angle, if the eyes are closer together, they look more. Says accurate.
That depends. That really depends. So like if it's like this, this will be at an angle. This will be at an angle. Wait, come back. Critique! Damn it. She had to go. She just reminded me. The face we push back more. Like this. The eyes. The more we see, the less of the head, the more the eye. This eye will start slanting, and this will become more closer. That's when that will happen. This won't go this way. It'll go this way, because this is going that way. Because the more this recedes, the more we see this. So it'll be going this way, as the other one's going that way. So that's how that works. Or if we want to look at another angle like this, we have to say like, how do I do this? Okay, and then
Says like a complete side profile.
yeah. It makes sense because, like, think of it. If you're looking from the side, if your character is looking from the side, you're not going to see the other side. You're just not, right? So you'll see more of this and less of the other eye on the other side. Now, the next need is the idea of the slanting. And this is probably the hardest one for most people, the slanting. Because the more you slant, the less you see. So this is why I can make the eyes look like they're looking up, because I slanted them. So if the more slanted I draw it at an angle, the more the eyes look up. The more I draw more wide, the more the eyes look like they're neutral. But once you draw them at an angle, they look like they're looking up. See that? Like a box. This is why I would say, if you're going to try more accurately, draw a box first. I hope that makes sense to anyone who's listening. So like this. If I were to draw a box like this, 1, 2, 3, I think this is the best way to get the eyes to look the way you want it, because of the eyes. I'm going to draw them more slant.
Says now I understand why that box method is used so often.
Yes. Right, because we're trying to stay in line with this slant. We don't want them to be like super rounded and like this, because we want them to be at an angle. Or if I want for them to look.
HOWTODRAW for following.
Thank you.
Says hi.
Hello. So like if I were to draw a anime head from the back of the head like this. Like that. See?
Eyes for following.
Or if I drew a head like.
For following.
Says that back head angle is spot on.
Yeah, and then the head looking up. Usually what throws a lot of people off drawing heads is it's two things. It is angling of head and ears. So if you want your character to look up, you have to angle where the eyes are going to look, and you have to make the ears go lower.
Says I like your sketches, those are nice.
Thank you. Thank you, I appreciate it. And then the chin will follow through as well, like this. Right. Like that. Sorry, I'm doing it really fast, so I'm sorry if it looks a little too messy. Like that. So the eyes are here and slanted because I put the eyes higher up here. The eyes are looking up. You can use a box just so you improve this. So 1, see how that works? Same thing with here. 1. If you want to be more precise, use a box. If you don't want to be precise but still want to draw something pretty, I won't say accurate, but pretty fluid, use a circle. Use a circle for fluidity and flow. Flow and fluid.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if the character's head is showing but not the face at all, don't you usually draw the ears straight ahead or close to the middle?
That depends how dynamic so like if I drew the head like this and I really did not want to see the side of the head, I would just draw that like this. Like we're not seeing no eye whatsoever, we're just seeing this. Oops.
Says like a straight on head position is what I meant.
Oh, straight on head position, so like if the head is straight on head position, like are we behind them? Is that what you're saying?
Says yes.
If we're directly behind them, then the only thing we see is the neck, navel, and then.
Says I love the little voice thing in the background. It's hilarious.
That. There's no need for anything but here. Really looking at the back of the head. Oop, make the ears a little bit too thin. And then side of the head. Alright, and then watching the character from under the chin. And always remember the head is never this round. It is like an egg, like this. That's why this bump comes out like this. It's more of a box than you think. Or if I draw the head, like that. Or we can put the circle about here, and
Says someone told me if you're looking back at them, the head shape differs between male and female.
Yeah, it does, because remember, males' necks are a lot more thicker than females' in most cases, depending on the body weight, body type, and stuff. So, like, if this male was more like really muscular, his traps are gonna be huge, right? If he's more lean, his traps will be pretty thick, but not as big. If he's kind of skinny, his neck will be skinny, but he'll have a bit more trap than a female would. Females have more smaller traps, almost non-existent. I don't say non-existent, but smaller. So I made this more into a female.
Says also didn't mean to distract y'all from Bean's chibi drawing lol.
No, it's fine. Like this. It's gonna curve. It's gonna curve, and also it's going to be a lot more smoother, but it's not gonna be a total like hourglass transition. A lot of people draw it females' necks like this when it's supposed to be like this. That's it. Remember, the traps are very small, like 2 little sticks. So like 1, 1, 2, bam, like that. And then that's where you can make the breasts and all that stuff. So like, yeah, it's not as hard as you think. It just takes some time to remember these things. with enough experience, you can remember them mostly half the time by just intuition alone. And your brain, if you practice enough and you put in the time and work and practice, you will memorize all this shit without even realizing it. You'll intuitively get it without trying to memorize. I don't sit here, just to let you guys know, I don't sit here and bash my brains to remember like certain like angles and stuff. I don't try to remember like muscle groups and all that crap. I just look at the mechanic of what I'm doing, and if it makes sense. After a time of like trying, retrying, trying over again and stuff like that, and understanding how the mechanics work of how the body is in certain groups, you can say, okay, that doesn't make much sense because X, Y, and Z. Whether it's angling or just overall just physicality or just physics, or a case may be, that comes into play, but you won't realize that it'll be intuitive. A lot of people think you have to be some super genius to remember any of this crap. You don't really have to. That's why you don't have to memorize like body groups. If you can, then that makes it much easier, I guess, but then again, it's not a mandatory thing. There's a lot of people who have never cracked open a book to know where the arm is when you have one. You know what I'm saying? No one has done that. Not a lot of people do that. So like most people just intuitionally do it with enough experience and practice. So don't obsess yourself over something like, do I need to learn every muscle group? Hell no. That is not a requirement. And if you're going to ask me the question, do you have to go to art school? Hell no. You don't have to go to art school. What in the hell? Oh my god. Yeah. 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 I don't know what you're trying to say over there, Nick. Alright, back to work. I guess I answered the question.
Says I don't need art school, I got teach law.
The gods will bless us, won't they?
Of course! I believe they've always been on our side. Will the gods bless us?
I believe.
They've always...
I am convinced you were trained under a professional.
Says with how much you know, I'd say you were trained by a professional. Says close to it. Says when I get the sketch halfway, he'll ask how I would draw pants on her.
roses and roses, baby. Eat 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 roses and roses, baby.
Listen, paying $14.99 a month for a streaming app, and $9.99 a month for a music app, and $12.99 for a fitness app, and more money for a bunch of other apps, that really adds up. So why not get YouTube Premium for just $13.99? It's like having all those and the entire world of YouTube uninterrupted. Your wallet will thank you, if wallets could talk. YouTube Premium. Try 1 month free.
Target Circle Week is here with thousands of deals for Target Circle members. And now get deals automatically, so they're impossible to miss. Not a Target Circle member? Not a problem. It's easy and free to join at Target.com. Target Circle Week. It's on.
Says okay.
Ryaga Samurai. Yo.
Alright, so he's over here. Let's do this, guys. So I'm going to move everything to the OBS. Oh my god. Take out the voice. Wait, hold on. I hate doing this every time, but I wanted to play video game too, but I don't think we'll have time for that. We'll do that tomorrow. We're gonna play Helldivers tomorrow. I've been playing it and I'm having loads of fun with the game. The game is brutal as hell when it really wants to be. Like, the game is really fun. You don't have to play with friends. You can play with randos and you'll be perfectly fine. I don't have no issue playing with randos on that game because I can just keep them mute just in case. But, like, they do their job. So, like, that was fun. I like playing that game. It's really fun. I would love to play with my mods. It'd be so much fun. Let me check. Get rid of this. Yeah, save that. Keep that for something really important. Okay. Techfinity, there it is. Alright. Where are we going with this? TikTok voice. Here. Techfinity. There we go. Alright. Alright, so let's get this party started. Now, today, let me see what video is this. So we got 2 of ANIMEART videos. He's been really on a roll with the whole, wokeness was going on and stuff like that. So I like supporting him and all that stuff. And hearing, I would like to support Kyle because I love his videos. I love how honest he is, as best as he can be, and he's extremely funny. And I love his work. But I know I can't show him off because of obvious reasons. But I do enjoy watching him and the message he puts out. So, with that said, we're going to watch some ANIMEART. It says, Sweet Baby. Well, actually, this one was for today. We'll watch the one from yesterday because it makes more sense to watch one from yesterday because he might talk about it. It'll be kind of awkward to go backwards. So, we're going to watch the one from he did yesterday. Oh, no. Oh, it was this one? It was 2 days ago. Okay, I'm good. So we're going to watch this one from yesterday. So it says, a Sweet Baby Agenda Exposed. Plus, woke joiners assembled to blacklist gamer gate supporters. Oh my god. Let's see what happens, bro. Alright, let's get it. Wait. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Oh, wait. Fuck. I forgot. Sorry, hold up, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I forgot to put the window. My god. I'm losing my touch, you guys, I'm losing my touch. I'm getting old. Let's see. I'll make them all big so I don't keep making them big and forget to do it. Get rid of that. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Oh, we got 3 of them. We got 3 anime recommendations. Okay, we can get rid of this. I'm gonna put all the negative stuff that people find hard to listen to or watch first. And then put all the fun stuff like the anime stuff last. Always save the best stuff for last. And yeah, we got a VTubing video. So I'll put the VTubing video here. Yeah, here. It's a Gundam, it's gotta be over here. Okay. Is there two of them? No, yeah, there's two of them. 2, 3. Anime. Okay. Trailer. Alright, that's good enough. Let me get Devion back over here because he was supposed to be first. 7 hours ago. Alright, so yeah, I'm gonna say this again. So this is Sweet Baby this is for Endymion. It says Sweet Baby agenda exposed plus woke journalists assembled to blacklist Gamergate supporters. Okay, so let's see what that's about. In 3, 2, 1. Can you guys hear it? Nope. Son of a bitch. I can't do shit today. I can't do shit today.
What's up, everyone? It's Endymion, and there's some new things I think people really need to know about. From a new buzzword that is quickly replacing concepts like DEI. That word, by the way, is bridge. And we'll get more into what that is later on, but trust me, it's something you need to know because this is all evolving into new forms. We also have DEI consultant agencies calling to blacklist people they don't agree with from the games industry and much more, let's start with that. From thatparkplace.com, we have this article titled, DEI consultancy Neisaga and Kotaku senior editor Alyssa Mercanti call for former World of Warcraft team lead Mark Kern to be blacklisted from video game industry. Mark Kern, by the way, is the real name of Grums, in case you didn't know. Obviously, for well over a month now, Grums has become something of a boogeyman for the gaming industry, especially since the whole Sweet Baby Inc. thing has happened. He's been asking a lot of questions and compiling information, which of course the broader industry does not like whatsoever. This had led to all sorts of hit pieces from Kotaku, The Verge, and many others, which have all pretty much done nothing but make things worse for them. Then, of course, recently we had the community managers of various game franchises getting pulled into the light as well, which led to a lot of bad blood happening, and even I was pulled into it when I spoke about a nefarious email that didn't look genuine at all. And I ended up getting swarmed by game industry people for attempting to ask questions when they didn't want anything to be asked. And I think that's what really fires me up, is that when you prod the beast and simply ask questions, you're labeled all sorts of buzzwords in return. Why is it so hard to answer some questions? Why can't I look at something that's happening and give my opinion on it without being swarmed? The simple answer is likely because I have a bad case of the wrong thing, but the truth is that it's simply because these people don't want their jobs or echo chambers to be targeted or have light shined on them. Of course, that hasn't stopped me, nor will it going forward, because I think it's important to ask questions, even if what's being asked is uncomfortable or considered problematic. After speaking with a certain community manager, I realized not all of these people are as bad as they may seem. Well, not entirely anyway. But of course, as things become unearthed, it's proving that the games industry is definitely filled with rot. And like always, I have to ask the hard questions, otherwise these things will continue to just destroy everything. So now another DEI consultant agency has entered the fray. They're like Sweet Baby, but they work with brands primarily outside of video games. That's not to say they're not in the gaming space, they are, but they've also worked with stuff like Nike and so on. They're called Neisaga. They were founded in 2015. Here's what it says on their official website. Founded in 2015 by Stephanie Ijoma, there was a dire need for change in the games and entertainment space. Our fundamental values ensure that we prioritize diversity.
I kind of noticed the people who keep constantly pushing for the idea of change in the gaming industry is usually people who don't even play games like that. Have you noticed that? It's not people who play games. It's usually the people who want to play cozy-ass games. Or Steven Universe-esque games. You notice that? And most of the time, they don't even play like, multiplayer games. They play like single-player games. Like very story-heavy driven type stuff that really no one cares for. It's not that popular. I kind of notice this every time. And it's usually a feminist. It's crazy.
Inclusion, representation, and equity in the pillars we dominate. While as continuing to create safe spaces and shifting the narratives, Neisaga is an influential force that is
like the fact that they push the idea of like there needs to be more female leads. I'm like, when hasn't there not been a female lead? Even in the gaming industry, you can name like 7 or 8, 10 or 15 different females in the 80s that was like in the game, like in female lead games, or at least strong females in games. Like, what the hell are you talking about?
Impact beyond gaming and more across many verticals. There's a lot said there, with some worrying parts thrown in for good measure. Stuff like shifting the narratives, which means this specific consultancy agency works to alter how things are perceived. Obviously, it could be for the good of things, and I don't doubt that they've had at least some positive impact when it comes to their existence. But we also know that this explosion of DEI consultancy agencies has erupted in the last few years across the board. There's actually more than 15 of these startups, all beginning within the last 9 years or so. That includes Sweet Baby, by the way, which is technically a younger company than Neisaga by 3 years or so. Neisaga has called for the games industry at large to silence and blacklist Grums, and pretty much every day I'm seeing more people in the games industry pushing back against Grums because of his reporting on their activities. What's very weird is that what they're mad at Grums for is something that doesn't make a lot of sense when you actually look at it. Grums has been compiling screenshots and lists of people who work in games that have a very blatant anti-white consumer viewpoint. And these people seem to just openly hate white individuals for simply existing, and going as far as to say being racist towards white people is impossible, which is ridiculous, by the way.
That is dumb. You can be racist towards anyone. It doesn't matter who they are. It's just a matter of fact. You can't You can't run around here saying there's no racism against certain people when that sounds racist in itself. Because if it was all the way, if it was turned around, then therefore you are the racist. Hello, Souls. What's going on, bro? We're doing reactions. If you want to come in here, you can.
What they think it anyway. Some of the people accused include Alyssa Mercanti of Kotaku, which has already said you can't be racist towards white people, as well as Liana Rupert, who's a community manager for Fallout's Amazon Prime series and more. I find it very sad that anyone could believe a narrative like this and think it's somehow impossible to be racist towards a certain group simply because of the color of their skin. And to also believe that other groups can't really be racist because they are allegedly systematically oppressed. Which I find to be largely BS, to be honest with you.
They're not.
If anything, the last 10 to 15 years at least has been nothing but opening doors for everyone across the board. And largely speaking, when it comes to hiring practices or even attending colleges, it actually benefits you if you are anything but a white man. In fact, white men in general, as well as Asian men, are facing discrimination at an alarmingly high rate. And they are being attacked and silenced by groups like these into compliance, and I think that's wrong. Of course, it doesn't escape me that the gaming industry at large has also become a far worse place since practices like these have been implemented. You and I both know that the quality of games has decreased substantially year over year. Sure, there's still some great things coming out, like your Elden Rings, Baldur's Gates, or Pal Worlds, but there's a lot of really middling games that seem to get worse with every passing year. Suicide Squad is of course one of them. Spider-Man 2 upset a lot of people for good reason. Gotham Knights was not a good game. Forspoken was terrible. Even Call of Duty seems to be getting worse with every passing year, somehow too. And I think the reason for a lot of these things is because priorities...
Bro, I don't ever see anyone get excited for Call of Duty anymore. I have not seen that in a very long time. In a very, like a long time. I haven't seen anyone like lose their mind like back in the early days before all this crap came into fruition. I remember back in the day when a new Halo was coming out, like Halo 3. When Halo 3 came out, bro, it was not an event. It was a one in a lifetime type of event when Halo 3 came out, when Call of Duty came around. I think other than,
oh my gosh, we talking about COD.
Yes. Like when I remember, if I remember right, like other than Modern Warfare 3 or Modern Warfare series, I think the best Call of Duty before Modern Warfare and Black Ops was literally Call of Duty 2. Literally. It was a simplistic game. It was easy to understand, easy to play.
The last time I got excited for COD was Black Ops 3.
Yep. That was it was Black Ops 3 and it was the Modern Warfare series in the early days, in the early 2008s, 2007s, 2006. That's where it was at, and after that it just went totally left.
Have shifted, and what used to be considered the gold standard has been replaced.
Now, just to be clear, for those who don't know, we're doing a reaction on YouTube, so if you want to come in here and hear the conversation, that's what we're talking about. I'm not randomly just bringing up stuff out of nowhere. I'm talking to the audience on YouTube, so if you want to come in here and be part of a YouTube video, you can.
With a new ideological viewpoint instead. It no longer seems to matter if the people being hired are good at their jobs or have any experience. But instead, they're hired simply based on who they are or what they identify as, which I mean is technically a legal thing you can do. Companies can hire whoever they wish. But I do think it's becoming abundantly clear that this push of hiring identity before talent has done nothing but worsen everything across the board. I don't care if the designer or artist on a game is a woman or person of color. I just want a good game that doesn't talk down to me. The company Supergiant Games has all of their art done by a woman, and guess what? Those games look amazing. I don't really care that a woman did it. I'm just happy that the games look nice, and that's the point.
Yep.
Instead of letting the work speak for itself, it seems like companies are far more interested in letting the workers speak instead of doing the actual work that is required. As I've said before,
what I don't understand, why can't we come to a come to Jesus moment and literally just come to the middle and be like, that makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. It doesn't matter what you identify as long as you're doing your job. Why does anything you identify matter? Why should that even be part of the conversation? Why does that even matter? It doesn't matter. It does not matter. If you're good at your job, you're good at your job. That's all that matters. Once you make these things apparent, you're going to make people hate you. It is what it is.
Posers in the industry is Yoko Shimomura, who's obviously a woman. I don't care at all what she is. She could look like anything. The point is that her music is amazing and she's great at what she does. She's done soundtracks for games like Final Fantasy 15, not to mention basically all of the Kingdom Hearts games. If you like a song from Kingdom Hearts, it's probably because she made it. The woman is insanely talented. I also think one of the best artists in video games, or basically just art in general, is a woman named Ayami Kojima. You likely know her since she's done Castlevania for years at this point. Everything on screen right now, that's Ayami Kojima's work. And just look at it, dude, it's amazing, like a beautiful gothic nightmare in every piece. Her art is something I've marveled over pretty much my entire life, and I would argue that Ayami Kojima's art has left an impression on me that has stayed within my mind since the moment I first laid eyes upon it.
Damn.
She's an amazing artist, and I love her work to death. I should honestly get some of her art framed to put in my house.
I'm not for the whole gothic thing, but it is very impressive. It is very impressive. It's not my thing, but I can admit it looks really cool. Very good work. Amazing.
It's just that good. Another great artist is Fiona Staples. You probably know her as the artist behind the comic series Saga. I met Fiona Staples once at a con. She's a very nice lady, and her art is just amazing, man. Just look at it. I'm surprised Saga hasn't gotten the Invincible TV treatment yet, but I'm sure one day that'll likely happen. But the art in that series is amazing. There's a cat that knows when you're lying no matter what. There's people with TVs for heads that change screens based on their emotions. And the story starts anyway with two people of opposing sides falling in love with one another and then running away with their child. What I'm trying to say here is that when something is good, whether it's art or music or anything else, it should speak for itself always. It shouldn't matter what someone looks like behind the camera or monitor, and I think art in general was far better off when people were just insanely talented and being able to speak with their art. I don't care to support something if someone says this art is black owned or made by some white guy either.
I hate that crap. I hate that crap. I'm not gonna lie to you. When you tell me it's some type of owned something, instead of it just being good, and let it speak for itself, or just advertise it normally, it makes me don't want to buy it. I'm sorry, I just don't want to buy it. Because now it's like asking a girl what you're into at the first date. If you ask her what you're into in the first date, everything you do now, she's gonna just assume you're doing it because she told you everything. It's not that fun anymore. It's not genuine.
Art is subjective, and different things will resonate with different people. And I know it doesn't matter who makes things as long as it's good, because characters like Black Panther are championed by black people everywhere, yet the character was made by some old white
guy.
The point is that I think every industry, whether it's games, movies, and so on, are far too up their own asses to see what people really want. They just see the pronouns, the skin color, and whatever else, and they think, yeah, that's probably enough, but it isn't. And I think consultancy agencies like Saga or these journalists, which I put in quotations, are angry because they're realizing their existences within these professions is being questioned by a lot of people, and for good reason. And I think if the only way you can respond to genuine questions being asked like, what do you actually bring to the table? And are you actually qualified for the job, and your answer is simply to block or yell harassment, it's never going to be a good look. I think the fact many of these consultancy agencies, whether it's Black Girl Gamers, Sweet Baby, and others, just curl up into balls and scream bloody murder, it just shows you how fragile their principles really are. Yet people like me, for example, will get waves of backlash online, and I don't silence any of it because people are allowed to hate me and have their opinion about me. I just let my work and my credibility speak for itself, and I think by doing that, I've won over more people than I've lost in the long run. I think these consultancy agencies asking for people like Grums to be blacklisted is nothing but an intimidation tactic in order to get him to stop doing what he's doing. But they don't realize that people like Grums just get emboldened by their resistance. And I think that we need to ask questions when it comes to things like this, otherwise, what are we even doing in the first place? Sure, it might be uncomfortable to ask someone, hey, why did you say that in the past, like white people are scum, for example, but that's what actual journalism is. Most of these websites aren't going to ask Saga or someone like Liana Rupert about their racist comments in the past, because if they do, they will be treated how Grums or even I do. I don't care if people in the games industry hate me or against me, that's fine. Because they know deep in their hearts that there was a rot festering, and they are obviously too scared themselves to do anything about it. So naturally, someone has to shoulder that burden and ask the real questions. I know devs are scared.
Makes
I talk
sense.
to them, but they can't reasonably say publicly that, hey, I don't like how white people are treated in video games, because they'll get silenced, fired, and then thrown to the wolves. I don't answer to any of these video game CEOs. Their HR departments mean nothing to me. They can send me a form saying they don't like me, I'll just light it on fire, or tell them to fold it up nicely and shove it up between their butt cheeks. You can hate me all you want,
the same damn thing.
hate any of the other YouTubers out there doing similar work too. They can hate all of us, but the truth is that we're far past the point of just sitting down and taking it. I'm not going to lose sleep knowing I'll never get invited to the Game Awards or something, because who cares? Oh no, I won't be able to sit in an auditorium while some out-of-touch Hollywood star who has nothing to do with video games presents an award.
To me,
And
like,
then we
what?
get to cut to a commercial break for Mountain Dew as Jeff Keighley yet again refuses to acknowledge the layoffs in the industry. But he will also allow 10 minutes to have Kojima just stand there on stage and smile at the crowd. Oh, how will I live with myself, I wonder. And before anyone says, look, I like Kojima's work. Hell, throughout this video, I've used footage from Death Stranding, which I personally think is a great game. But maybe, can we not have celebrities on stage and instead get some actual game developers?
Thank you!
I would love for award shows to have some programmer from a company who's like, hey...
Oh my god, someone said it, thank god. I thought that way back when. Why is it always have to be some stupid celebrity on stage? Like, I understand they're trying to get people to look at the awards, because most people who are normies are not going to watch it, because people who are super fans of these people will watch anything. If they're even like in a bathtub of acid, they'll do it. They'll watch it. Don't matter, right? So I understand that, but it's gotten to a point where back in the day, I remember when a celebrity was up on stage in Game Awards, it was a big thing because, like, it was a celebrity, right? Like, we don't think celebrities play video games, right? Because they're always busy acting and making money, right? So now, because the Game Awards has been now a part of, like, pop culture and just, like, the mainstream now, You have nothing but celebrities constantly showing off some stupid game. And you think to yourself, do these people even play video games? And then you figure out they don't. And they even sometimes admit on stage that they don't play video games. Like, that's the funniest part. Like, you don't even get a celebrity who plays video games. You just got some random person. I remember they had, someone from the, was it the Goodfellas? Some actor from Goodfellas who's like an age actor, I forgot his name, from those gangster movies, was presenting some game he was in. And remember, he's old as hell. I don't even think most people know who he is. I know because I watched Goodfellas and The Godfather, but like, I forgot his name. But like, he was one of those Scorsese movies, or whatever case where they refer to him. And it was like, bro, this dude's almost like 70. Why is he up here? Like, I get what they're trying to do, but like, it was really extremely cringe. And the dude said he's not into video games. He's like, he's kids in these video games. Like, why is he up here? You couldn't get someone who was much younger or at least alive to like present this game. Most kids don't even care for gangsters. They want to be influencers or some stupid shit.
So-and-so from this studio. I worked on the environmental design for this game. Anyway, here's the nominees for Best Environmental Design or something. I think that'd be great. Maybe you could pair up a game dev with a celebrity and then you can hit two birds with one stone. But I think the way things are going right now, the industry is so large and there's so many moving gears that it's honestly a goddamn miracle that most of these games even make it out the door at all. Any video game made is a mixture of hard work, luck, and insanity. I understand that. I just think the industry has been hijacked by activists who are driving a wedge between the players and the actual talented people who are making games for all the right reasons. But unfortunately, these games like South of Midnight, which Grums reported already and I covered twice, I think if memory serves, has been hijacked by DEI activists.
Yes,
and
they
devs
have.
are so scared of losing their jobs, they have to resort to speaking anonymously in DMs to tell us just how bad things really are. We don't just pull this information out of nowhere. I'm not Khalif Adams, who said the voices in his head told him that Grums and his supporters caused a DDoS attack on Compulsion Games and then had no evidence of it even happening. And there was also no evidence whatsoever of said DDoS attack even existing in any form. Likely him or Alyssa Mercanti went to load Compulsion Games' website and their internet crapped out because they forgot to pay their internet service provider and they went, could this be Grums' fault? Is Grums responsible for my internet
Are you kidding me?
out in my apartment that I share with 6 other roommates and their partners? Could it be that technology is just sometimes a little wonky? No, of course not. This is Grums' fault. Instead, the voices in these people's heads, which each harbor some new insane personality like they're the freaking X-Men Legion himself, go, this has to be Grums' fault and I have to be a victim. It just has to be. And then voila, magically there was a supposed DDoS attack on a woke game studio, with no proof of any kind, but that didn't matter because morons on Twitter and so on ran with it anyway. And so like I said in my previous video, most of the time we don't even have to do anything to get these people to talk.
What?
I can just sit here naked on my couch, double cheeked up on a Sunday afternoon drinking coffee and playing video games. And somehow, some way, a weirdo in the games industry will hear the voice of Archangel Michael telling them that Grums is now the Antichrist. And they'll just start screaming that something has happened to them, when in reality they probably just forgot to take their meds and need to stop drinking iced coffee and cigarettes for breakfast. Then we have another person, this time from Respawn Entertainment, saying some dumb stuff. Also from thatparkplace.com, this article is titled, Systems Design Director at Respawn Entertainment, Raim Vincent, defends Fallout community manager who claimed the broader community of white people are racist. Raim said in response to Grums compiling screenshots of community managers, again with the grifting and griefing from this boring lot. At this point, you can assume that anyone they've singled out and preyed on, like Liana Rupert here, is a person worth knowing and standing next to. You can ignore the mean losers. I should mention that some of the tweets that got unearthed, for example from Liana Rupert, included her defending another person in the space called Christina Ariel, who was someone that has attacked white people in the past. When she came to the defense, a user then said, "Don't talk ridiculous, someone who constantly attacks white men and women and clearly states we are not allowed to talk about racism. This woman is a racist and hypocritical AF, she is forever playing the victim, I am so sick of fake SJWs defending this behavior. It's wrong to be a racist no matter what side you are on. Stop it. And I agree with this user on that.
Thank God.
It doesn't
I agree
matter
with her.
who you are, or what color or anything. Stop attacking people and generalizing them in ways like this. Not all white people are bad or racist, and neither are black people or Asian people either. Can we instead dictate these things on a person-by-person basis instead? I think that's much better. Of course, Leon.
They did not listen to what Martin Luther King said.
Fundamentally, people of color can't be racist against white people. They can't
Yes,
have
they
bias,
can.
but racism is systematic, and in the US, the system benefits the white community, and has been since we established ourselves at the start of our country's history. And this is, yet again, where I disagree. You can be racist towards white people because we see it every day. We're seeing industries like movies, games, and so on deliberately go out of their way to not hire people because they're white. That is, by definition, racism. There's no way anyone can spin that story to make it sound better. I should remind people I did talk to Liana Rupert in the DMs in regards to my previous video, and she did say she apologized for a lot of these comments she has made in the past. While I understand that, I just think people should not spew this sort of rhetoric ever. Imagine saying all black people are racist or that all Asian people are somehow bad. It's stupid because it's not true. And when it comes to consultancy groups like Nasaga and others attempting to silence or ban grums, it just shows that none of these groups are willing to defend their positions or ideologies. And it's mostly because if their ways of thinking were challenged, they would quickly realize how weird and racist they really are. Finally, let's talk about bridges. So you obviously know terms like DEI, woke, and so on. Well, you can add bridge to the group now too. Every few years, corporations tend to find new ways to package the same old nonsense in new ways. And I think you need to know what bridge stands for going forward, because you're about to hear pretty much every company in existence start to use this term. It's going to be the new replacement term for DEI basically. If you go to socialimpact.com, you can find a lot more information, but I'll condense it here for you. According to their official website, this is what bridge is for, and I quote, "Bridge stands for Benchmarking Race, Inclusion, and Diversity in Global Engagement. Bridge is an institutional survey that explores diversity, equity, and inclusion, and accessibility, metrics, structures, and practices."
This is not going to work out. This is not going to work out. This is not going to work out. This is just another rebranding, and as soon as this is it's just going to be taken down. This is just a rebranding. This is all what this is.
Practices at the organizational level across U.S. registered organizations in the international development and humanitarian sector. Bridge has become a social movement of organizations dedicated to using evidence to advance DEI goals within their organizations and at the sectoral level. The data from Bridge serves as a tool for our community to ground truth organizational practices with evidence and serves as a call to action to advance equity and inclusion in the sector. For many organizations in the United States, attention to DEI increased exponentially after the murder of George Floyd in the summer of 2020 and the massive racial justice mobilization that followed. In response, many organizations in the international development sector searched to find documented efforts at the sectoral level on the extent of the industry's DEI challenges. What they found, however, was a startling gap in publicly available sector-wide data on diversity. While a number of strategic actions are needed to meaningfully address the legacy of structural racism and other inequities in our sector and the organizations within it, establishing baseline evidence is among the first steps needed. Having this data will enable individuals and collective action. Organizations will be able to compare their own data to the industry benchmark and identify areas where they need to focus their efforts. At the sectoral level, the data could point to gaps where joint action is required to achieve meaningful and lasting change. The data will also provide a basis for mutual accountability and ultimately contribute to changing the sector for the better. Further, Bridge 2.0 and further iterations will provide time series trends of DEI metrics, distill what is and what is not working, and serve a real-time guide to advance DEI within organizations. End quote. So Bridge is going to be the new benchmark for everything going forward, and so far it's mostly a term that will be used in the United States as of now anyway, but obviously will eventually become synonymous across the world too. There is that one part where they said organizations will be able to compare their own data to the industry benchmark and identify areas where they need to focus their efforts. This is basically another way of just...
Bro, that just sounds extremely dystopian. This sounds dystopian as hell. Oh god, this sounds terrible.
Rebranding ESG scores. Companies will now be incentivized to push as much diversity and inclusion as humanly possible into everything they do. Obviously, this isn't to make money because largely speaking, these efforts are not economically smart. But it's done to show how virtuous your company is, and yes, it's basically just a dick measuring contest between companies who have way too much money. So they're coming up with stupid reasons to outdo each other, basically. So if you see in the future some CEO or whatever on stage during something say we need to bridge the gap or bridge our audience to new horizons, or whatever other cringe way they can implement a bridge into a sentence, I want you to keep your ears open to that. Because they know terms like DEI or woke have become very well known by pretty much the general audience, and now they need to basically respect their skill points and try a new build. But we're already onto it and others within the space, so I just want you to all know this. Wokeness and the destruction of IP will not stop anytime soon, and these companies are going to fight tooth and nail to ensure this vision is actualized. But remember ultimately that they can change the terms all they want, the audience will always find out. Whether it's these consultancy groups attempting to scream harassment or community managers saying some really tone-deaf stuff, or the bridge crap, as you can see the game is evolving and we clearly need to evolve with it. They can attempt to attack us or whatever else, just stand together and reject their nonsense. They need us far more than we need them after all, and the sooner companies abandon these concepts, the better they will be in the future. And most of these consultancy groups are full of crap anyway, because need to remind you that cease and desist that Black Girl Gamers sent to that park place, they said that they would escalate their claims on April 5th, 2024. And obviously, as you know, we're past that date already. They know they can't do anything and they have no power in stopping the movement. So I just want to remind you that you're winning and don't harass anyone and just stay vigilant. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and share the video to spread the message. And thanks to my patrons for their undying support.
Alright, that's in Debian, but we're gonna... Yeah, that's in Debian, so like, subscribe, share, follow, comment, and all that great stuff, yeah. Okay, I said I was gonna do several videos, but I'm just gonna think we're just doing these 2 Debian videos and 1 anime video and call it a night because it's 7. So let's just knock this out of the park, get to 1 anime video, and do the rest tomorrow. Because it's already 7. I got on super late.
Get to, from the Hollywood exodus currently purging the entire industry of wokeness, to older video games consuming the majority of player retention across the world. We also have rumors claiming that Suicide Squad will be dead and gone sooner than you think, and Star Wars Outlaw...
Oh, this one says a mass exodus.
Alright.
Yeah, this is a mass exodus. Hollywood purges woke writers, and Star Wars Outlaws is peak sweet baby agenda garbage. Yep. So yeah, we're gonna knock this video out, and then we'll watch 1 anime video and then call it night.
Community manager is exposed for being racist, and Sweet Baby's producer hates Stellar Blade. So let's start with Suicide Squad and all the gaming stuff first. From bounding into comics, we have this article titled "Rumor Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League Leak Reveals Upcoming DLC Characters. Suggests live service support coming to an end in early 2025. These rumors come from a Twitter account from Miller Ross, who's an individual that has accurately leaked pretty much everything conceivable when it comes to Suicide Squad. Every story beat, post-game launch plans, he's leaked everything accurately. He says the next playable character after Joker is Mrs. Freeze. Yes, Mr. Freeze's wife Nora will be playable because of course we can't have too many straight white men to play as, I guess. But if the first season is anything to go by, the entire
Holy moly, she was
She's
supposed to be dead. I guess.
No, she's dead. He has her animation. Suspended animation.
Yeah, that's weird.
Why is he?
I don't think anyone has ever said I want to play Nora in a game from Mr. Freeze's wife, dead wife, or. Huh. That never crossed my mind until now.
Dead on arrival already. Joker season was considered terrible and a complete waste of time for players across the board. There was barely any story besides a motion comic, and no new missions whatsoever if you can believe it. You just ran around an Elseworlds map doing the same stuff you already did. You also couldn't play as Joker until you got to a certain rank or spent real money, so basically every season is more so going to be a glorified ad sponsorship to make you pay real money to play a different character to do the same crap anyway. Well, according to Miller Ross, who again accurately leaked everything, Warner Bros. Is not happy with Suicide Squad whatsoever. And its failure is evident, and they plan to release whatever content they have in the pipeline, which apparently ends with Deathstroke being playable in Season 4, and then they will cease all operations on the game. Season 4 will launch in January 2025, which means Warner Bros. Will...
The question is, can they even hold that off?
All support to Suicide Squad
till then.
Less than a year after release, since the game did come out in February. which means Suicide Squad has officially done worse and lasted even less than Marvel's The Avengers did, if you can believe it. But this is what is happening.
That's a talent. That's a talent, bro. That's a talent.
A lot of newly released games, especially the live service ones. Well, that is unless your name is Helldivers 2, of course. Besides that, pretty much it's becoming harder than ever before to actually gain an audience. Why is that? Of course, it could be because the gaming landscape is heavily saturated and people have less time than usual to actually enjoy the games they play while balancing everything else in life. Believe me, I know that feeling. I've been playing games less with every passing year, little by little. I still do try to play what I want, but even I gotta admit that real life tends to get in the way of gaming more often than not. It did take me an entire month to platinum Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but that's what being an adult is, I guess. This brings me to this article from Mobile Syrup titled 60% of games played in 2023 were at least 6 years old. This article is referencing another from website Newzoo, and it highlights how players are increasingly not engaging with many new products as before. Apparently, only 66 games made up around 80% of total playtime in 2023, if you can believe it. That's genuinely insane. That's across all platforms and players, by the way. 80% of us, man, that's wild. And 30% of that 80 was devoured by just a few titles like Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft, Grand Theft Auto 5, and League of Legends. One of the only newer titles.
So, like, if there's 80 billion people, let's just say it was like there's 80 billion people, and 80%, 40 is half. You know what I'm saying? That's almost what? 6 billion or 6 to 7 billion people.
Last year to actually have attributed to a ton of playtime was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, which doesn't surprise anyone.
Next 6 billion.
Then there's Starfield, which had a very small slice of the pie on Xbox and PC as well. But largely speaking, the fact that over half of the time spent playing video games last year were in older titles is amazing to me. Of course, it falls down to many factors, like players cannot realistically play every new game immediately, and this mentality of course spills over to live service games too. How many times has your friend or something told you, oh, you gotta try this live service game, and you never do? And it's not that you're not interested, it's just that you don't realistically have the time needed to properly experience what all of these live service games have. Most players are probably like me. You look at live service multiplayer games like a job class in Final Fantasy. You pick maybe 1 or 2 at best, and then you focus on those, and that's it. For me, the only live service games I've given any real proper time to in the last few years, it's been Fortnite, Destiny 2, and Helldivers 2. That's it. It's hard enough trying to platinum every game I want 100% while doing everything else I gotta do in life. But I think what this article's metrics are proving to me is that players are largely just not very interested in newer titles as much, and for good reason. Suicide Squad, like we just saw, is a casualty of these metrics. It attempted to slice a piece of that pie that's being devoured by Fortnite and Call of Duty, and people did show up to play it in around the hundreds instead of the thousands and potential millions these sorts of games need in order to survive and thrive. I also think that just in general, video games are just far too expensive these days as well, factoring in stuff like inflation and the ever-rising cost of things like rent. Not to mention your other bills like electricity, water, your phone, and so on. For a lot of people out there, that doesn't leave much to spend on leisurely activities every month. And in Canada anyway, a new video game here in Alberta is $80, or about $85.
No! Bro, it took me forever. I was having a mental breakdown on the fact, like, when are you dropping the female body tutorial, female torso? That's being still worked on because I have to explain it in such a way. Actually, if you want a quick...
Says I am back, sorry I was doing work.
If you want a quick response on that, Matthew, this is a video I did yesterday on that very topic on a live stream. Do you want the video to that? I can always just give you the video to that.
In Ontario, on the East Coast, a new game, when tax is included, it brings the total to around $93. And this is base versions, by the way. Once you factor in deluxe editions or whatever else, these numbers obviously will skyrocket. The problem here is that video games are just far too expensive, and largely speaking, many of the newer titles released in the past few years don't feel worth what they're asking for. And of course,
Says
you
listening
factor
to
in these
reactions.
insane costs with the fact
Yeah, we're
many
doing
video
reactions.
games are being hijacked by crazy political activists, and it's a recipe for disaster. Suicide Squad wasn't only a game that reviewed and sold poorly, but it was also filled to the brim with woke pandering. In terms of ESG, or I guess Bridge as they're calling it now, Suicide Squad was a resounding success to them. It was full of women in power, diversity, and white men dying all over, but in the eyes of the players, it was everything they didn't want and it failed. And you can't really call players racist, since if the sole reason Suicide Squad failed was because of the mysterious racist white male audience out there, that's stupid to suggest. Since there's players of all skin colors and so on, and even they didn't buy Suicide Squad or other woke failures like Alan Wake 2, which still hasn't made a profit by the way, so it seems like by pandering that way, all they did was end up alienating everybody. And it's no wonder to me anyways that over 60% of playtime was dedicated to older titles, cause have you gone back and played some older games? Dude, they're pretty good, I gotta say. Earlier this year, I went back and played Batman Arkham Asylum and City. Those games are amazing even to this day. There's no political correctness in it, women are actually sexy and look like women, and Batman isn't emasculated but instead presented as an actual badass resourceful superhero, which is obviously what Batman's supposed to be. I remember back in 2022, after I beat Elden Ring, I went back and I just replayed Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 and Sekiro. And I managed to platinum them all. Yeah, it took a lot of time. I mean, I spent a good 2 months at least just playing those games again, but man, was that insanely fun to do. Because yet again, I was playing titles that I already owned, so obviously I was saving money of course, but they're just awesome to go through and enjoy again. Didn't really enjoy how much farming I had to do for certain items to level up my covenants, mind you, but beyond that I had a lot of fun. And I think what I just said isn't unique at all, since many of you have likely gone and done the same thing. A lot of games these days, like I said, they don't feel worth the money I've spent on it. And if it's not the quality, it's the messaging that brings the entire experience down. In 2021, I remember when
these people hate the fact that you tell them the truth. They hate this.
BioWare released the Mass Effect Legendary Edition with all 3 games remastered. To me, that was my game of the year that year. Sure, I had 100%ed those games before, and I gladly did it again, but playing those games again showed me how cooked most of these new games feel and act. Even now, as I look into the horizons of 2024, what else am I genuinely looking forward to?
Nothing.
So far anyway, it's Stellar Blade and Visions of Mana. Beyond that, I'm kind of struggling to pick anything else. Oh yeah, I forgot East Nordics, which does come out near the end of 2024. I want that as well. But in terms of big AAA nonsense, we have stuff like Star Wars Outlaws, which is coming August 30th, 2024. And you can pay more money to play 3 days early, which is stupid. Just release it 3 days earlier than that, but we know they won't because they know they can squeeze out a little more money out of people that way. But that game already feels tainted because it's made by Ubisoft, and they've been injecting woke pandering nonsense
for years.
Into everything they
they've been doing it for years. They've been doing that crap for years, bro. It's
make. I remember when I played Far Cry 6, which feels like an eternity ago, but that game was eye-rolling to say the least. Every good guy in a position of power was a woman, every bad guy was a man besides one evil woman, and every good male character that was in a position of power ends up dying and then gets replaced by a woman. It was Horizon Forbidden West all over again. These games that subtly push their messages hoping that you don't see it. Seriously, go look at Horizon Forbidden West and tell me how many men in positions of power are there compared to women. Besides the one chieftain guy, pretty much every captain or high-ranking official in that game is a woman. You ain't slick, Guerrilla Games, we see what you're doing, and same goes for Ubisoft. And Star Wars Outlaws, by the way, had their community manager deactivate their account after tweets were found of them saying that they hate white male players.
Oh, there you go.
Said things like, this is shameful behavior.
That's what happened. You keep hiring these crazy activists. Why do you keep hiring these people in these video games? Why?
I can't imagine many women wanting to play this game. It doesn't help it was developed by an all-white male team either. If you're a white dude complaining that diversity being raised is an issue, then people are going to keep raising the lack of diversity until we see change. That shit's got to change, man. I was put off with the main character you play as being a white male. I'd have picked it up straight away if I could have been a female, I think. I want to be badass like Rey. And of course, this one where Star Wars Outlaws community manager complained that Days Gone was too white, where she said, "I'm enjoying playing Days Gone, but at the same time, the lack of diversity really upsets me." Someone then says, "Know what you mean, it's a real love-hate story." Then the community manager said, "Like, even the camps are full of white people." And later on in another thread, she would say things like, "Yay, diversity, finally, no more middle-aged white men." And of course, this one where she says, "Ooh, that looks painful, you cracker, be safe." The amount of white male hates these community managers have is insane, and the fact that these companies keep these people employed and even encourage it is even worse. This is the lady that Ubisoft wants representing their big AAA Star Wars open world adventure game, and it saddens me greatly.
What the hell?
She uses cracker, which is a slur by the way, and is still employed, it tells you everything. There is a bias in the industry, and these people are never held accountable ever. She's been doing this for years. And the moment people find out and compile these things, she runs away, protects her account, or delists it completely and hides. And will likely yell that she's being harassed, while completely omitting the fact she openly celebrates her disdain and hate of white men across the industry. Not to mention, look at the main character compared to the actor it's based on. They completely westernized the crap out of this main character in Star Wars Outlaw, dude. They made her ugly on purpose. I hated it.
Damn!
Ubisoft is insane if they think this won't damage their potential sales and companies. They need to stop hiring these racist individuals to be the leaders of their communities. This person is supposed to bring people together, yet like always, all they're really good at is driving people apart. And this is just another self-sabotaging nonsense.
You gotta come over here on YouTube to know.
There's far too many activists in the industry, and they're killing everything good about the games that do come out. Now when I look at Outlaws, I see a game that likely employs people who hate me for things I can't change. And a community manager who thinks I'm subhuman because I have white skin and male parts. Now I don't even want to play Outlaws or support it, and that's the problem here. The activism of these people in video games is just driving a wedge, and again, it's no wonder because of this that 60% of playtime is now older games. Because why do I want to spend $85 Canadian on Star Wars Outlaw knowing that the people who made it hate me? If Ubisoft were to clarify and maybe get rid of that community manager who hates the audience, that would be a lot of goodwill in the long run. But as it stands, I'm good. Plus, looking at Outlaws, it's yet again a strong female character where every evil person is of course a straight white male. So far anyway, of course, we don't know the whole story yet. But
I'm here. Hello, Theron. Nice to see you.
It happen time and again. At least Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order did something different and had a woman of color as the main villain. I'm tired of seeing the same bad guy archetype in literally everything that comes out of Western studios. We get it, activist game devs, you hate white men, but we can just not buy these things and then they will just cease to exist. Take for example that movie The American Society of Magical You-Know-What, which only made $2.4 million at the global box office and was a complete failure in every way. And I'm glad it failed because it was a movie that used white tears as an actual plot device and was incredibly racist. The entire concept was terrible, and I'm glad it bombed, and the failure of this movie is proof that audiences have the power in the end. Just don't open your wallets and then watch these projects squirm and die painfully as they fade into obscurity and lose money and relevancy. Suicide Squad is of course another example, and while Star Wars Outlaw is obviously a big IP game, unless Ubisoft rectifies their anti-white male
which they won't. You know they won't. They will not do it.
Stance with their community manager.
They will not do it.
Yeah, I'm good. No thanks. Besides, it's an Ubisoft game. These things go on sale within minutes of releasing anyway. If there's any game company out there whose games lose value at obscenely fast rates, it's Ubisoft. Any game they make, just wait a month and it's half off. It never fails ever. I would speak more on Ubisoft, but unfortunately, you have to buy the gold edition of this YouTube video to unlock it, so I'll just keep moving on to the next story. Sweet Baby is obviously one of the big reasons why everything sucks, and their producer over there has some words about Stellar Blade.
That's funny.
Obviously, don't harass this person. They work for Sweet Baby, so they probably have brain damage already as is. Anyway, their name is Maria, and they really don't like Stellar Blade. Here's what they said in regards to the game, and they reference Khalif Adams, who, if you don't know, he's the guy that accused Grums and everyone who supports Gamergate 2 of DDoSing Compulsion Games' website, when there was absolutely zero evidence of it ever happening. His internet probably crapped out and the voices in his head went crazy. Anyway, Maria from Sweet Bing Bong Baby said, Part of the difference is there is an evident mutual understanding from Khalif Adams of how sexualized women in games make real women feel both objectified and or empowered.
Oh,
of
well.
course, though, it's person specific. All I'm trying to
Damn,
say is there
don't
is
play
a
the
way
game
to
then.
appreciate a
Don't.
character
It
and
wasn't
express
made
how-
for you.
Raiga Samurai.
It wasn't made for you. Oh well. Those men are probably incels anyway. So like, who cares, right? So what do you care if they play a girl who looks busty? Who cares? You go. Well, how about this? How about this? How about this? How about this?
Womp womp.
Well, men are playing Stellar Blade. Go play Lara Croft or Batman. Batman's 6 foot something. He has money and he also beats people in the streets. Go play Batman Arkham Knight.
The real one.
The real one. Go play the Arkham series. Womp womp.
Womp womp.
It is what it is.
Well.
That's how things go. Like, for instance, a lot of girls, or not girls, but like the people who made the Marvel said, or what was it? No, it's not Marvel, it was Captain Marvel. The lady who played Captain Marvel, got Brie Larson,
Samurai.
said,
It's not made for you, that's what they be telling us.
Yeah, isn't I don't want no 40-year-old white dude telling me X, Y, and Z. Okay, fine. Okay, you gotcha. Fine. You can play as Miss Marvel as best as you can. Fine. But when we get into something that has to do with us, I don't want to hear it from you. Right? So, like, if dudes want to play Stellar Blade, I don't care if females feel anyway. It's not their problem. It's not their problem. It's never going to be their problem. They can go play Genshin Impact. If they can go play, they can play as every Genshin Impact character, good-looking female to good-looking dudes. Don't even play in the females. Play the dudes. Play as the dudes. And they're all shaped. They're good-looking. They're jacked and lean. They have pretty hair and they dress well. So you can have the same thing that you're saying that is attacking women in that sense. Do the same thing to men. Tell them to get in shape. I think that's pretty fair, don't you think? And guess what? How do these women know Stellar Blade exists if they don't play it? Like, for instance, my sister was playing a musical game the other day I did not hear about. At all. Never heard about it, but it has great music in it.
I absolutely love this game.
How would I know? How would they know? They can't know, you don't tell them. And if you do tell them, they probably don't care. Shit.
How a character is without being weird about it. And part of that is recognizing the power imbalance and privilege that exists for different genders' identities in the real world. Of course, leave it to a producer from the Stinky Baby to immediately look at Stellar Blade and decide to throw their insane mentality at it. They can't just see a beautiful woman in a video game, there has to be an issue with it because it doesn't conform to their ideals.
Nope.
And again, notice how in the second part, Maria compares Stellar Blade to what she calls the real world. Here's my question to Maria, and anyone who shares her opinion. Why does Stellar Blade need to adhere to the concepts of the real world exactly? It's a video game. I don't remember anywhere in the world people having the ability to magically Sailor Moon their clothing onto their body as they enter a battlefield.
That, and last I checked, I remember way back when Nier was like getting their games up and running, people was making the same complaints. Oh, this is doing something to women. Guess who these women cosplay the most? 2B. I type in 2B in Pinterest, type in 2B or B2 into Instagram, you get nothing of all types of women. Asian, black, don't matter. All types of women. Chubby, even straight. Dudes too!
Yeah,
dressed like 2B from Nier. Why is that? I thought that game was problematic back then. But guess what's very ironic about that game? Because Stellar Blade came out, the French reporter was upset that the game was harming women. But he used 2B and Bayonetta as perfect examples of what women should be. What the hell? So let me get this straight. android type doll who's half naked, running around killing whether monsters or androids, and a woman whose literal clothes is the hair on her head, pulling out demons out of her head and killing and eating demons. That's something girls should look up to. Last I checked, when Bayonetta fights, she fights very seductively. And plus, they're not bad looking.
Her ultimate pulls off war clothes. That's the close.
You know, I saw a meme where I think 2B's sitting on a bench, and then Stellar Blade, the girl, Eve, is sitting next to her, and she's like all sad. And 2B puts her hand on her shoulder, he's like, first time. Don't worry, they'll come around. They always come around. You're just like me when I was young.
Or anywhere on planet Earth where you can fight squid aliens from
I am so
space
confused.
with a
What are you
robot
confused about?
sword while rushing the beach like you're in Normandy. Maybe I missed that part of history class, but I don't know, man. I guess I'm able to separate the real world from video games.
Oh yeah, I seen that.
Yeah, you seen that? Okay, I'm not crazy.
LMAO.
Let's go.
Video games aren't real. And actually, the most fun I've had with video games has almost always been because they don't adhere to the real world. In Donkey Kong Country, I get to play as a big monkey with a tie around his neck, slapping crocodiles and barrels. Unless I'm stupid, which I am, but I don't think I've ever seen a monkey wearing a tie power bombing crocodiles in real life before. You also got stuff like Destiny, where you can shoot ice and electricity from your hands while you shoot aliens. I'm not really interested in what the random aliens I'm Uber eating my bullets into their brain think about the presidential election or something. I also don't really look at any game I've played ever and think, why doesn't this adhere to the real world? Probably because I'm someone who hasn't drank the Kool-Aid like the rest of them, and Stellar Blade doesn't need to adhere to anything in the real world. And funnily enough, the only thing it retains from the real world is the model for Eve herself, which is actually the biggest reason why woke weirdos hate Stellar Blade to begin with. Yeah, Eve is based on a Korean supermodel who looks like a goddess. I mean, we can debate.
Bro, she's a supermodel, and they said women don't look like this.
Oh my god.
She's an Asian supermodel, and they said they made her look like way because no woman looks like that. They use a real woman. What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? We use a actual woman, breathing, living. And then they said, what did they say? They said that the men or the people or Shift Up or whoever the dude's, I think he's called Shift Up, said whoever made Stellar Blade haven't seen a woman before and never got women. Not knowing that not only the dude is married, his wife is actually kind of hot. No, not kind of. She actually is hot. She's a dime piece. And knowing that, guess what? She's one of the top artists there who makes and draws Eve all day.
Damn.
Have you seen this man's wife? Oh my god.
Oh my god, that's what's doing them making fun of the guy that made Hunter x Hunter and say, oh, Sailor Moon was a better anime. But, like, that's my wife's work anyway, so you still like it.
Yeah, it's funny, but, like, what's also funny about that is, like...
Raiga Samurai. Yeah, they were throwing everything at
Shift Up. It couldn't work. And guess what? Shift Up's actually attractive.
Really?
The man is actually attractive. He's an attractive man. And he has an attractive wife who draws Eve all damn day. She works for him.
All we want, but she's real, dude. And I mean, beyond that, everything else is fake because it's a video game. Eve can rest at camps and heal all of her wounds instantly. Yeah, that's not very realistic, but I also don't exactly want to wait actual days worth of real time for Eve to heal her wounds so I can keep playing. I also don't think in real life I could
That's wild, man.
physically kill a big alien monster with a gooch for a face, but Eve can because she's a video game character, and that's cool because, again, it's not real. Can we stop applying real-life nonsense like this to games that are clearly not inspired by real-life things to begin with? I love Final Fantasy XVI a lot, but unfortunately in real life I can't scream autistically and suddenly transform into a building-sized kaiju and burn my enemies. Believe me,
I gotta go.
That
Okay,
would
later.
be dope if I could, but it's not real. However, in video games, I can live that reality, so that's
Says
awesome.
you by GDG.
But I really dislike how these people hate on games that don't bend to their will.
Oh shit, it went through. Oh, no, okay, no.
France and Stellar Blade was made by people who've never seen a woman before. Yet recently, Shift Up, the devs behind Stellar Blade, released a photo of their dev team. And look at all the women on the team. So I guess IGN France is saying even the women who work there have never seen or touched a woman. Very cool. And the fact this sort of behavior is normalized and encouraged, including CMs like Shauna Jones, who works on Star Wars Outlaws, who openly hates white players, is also ridiculous. Thankfully, it is becoming harder for woke individuals to find work, as seen in this
Good. They should starve.
I'm scared. Why it's a brutal time to
I'm scared.
The end of peak TV has ushered in an era of contraction with fewer buyers. Farewell to CW, and fierce competition for the few shows that are staffing. People are in total survival mode. What this article is stating is that many writers and even showrunners in Hollywood are having an insanely hard time finding work. Apparently, the studios are refusing over 90% of the pitches thrown their way and are only approving things that they believe will be surefire hits. This just means that Hollywood may actually be finally listening to fans and will not keep pumping out garbage like they have in previous years. One of the points of many of the writers interviewed here is that there is not many openings to learn the ropes. And certain networks like the CW, which has basically been annihilated and all their shows have ended pretty much, doesn't really have a foothold anymore.
Yep, and CW's woke as hell. They should call it Central Woke, not even CW. The Central Wokeness of where to die. Oh my god.
Way for new writers to get into the industry, but if you watch the CW, their writing was garbage and the two things are obviously connected. Hollywood is apparently only banking on surefire talents and the more seasoned writers, meaning the writers' rooms are smaller and harder to get into. This means writer rooms like She-Hulk Season 1 are going to quickly become a thing of the past, which thank God for that at least. One writer interviewed was Shannon Corbeil, who was a finalist of the Disney TV Writing Fellowship, who said, "The staffing positions available are going to more seasoned writers and the pilots that are being purchased are being bought from proven writers." She says this like that's a problem. So you're telling me only shows made by people who actually know what they're doing are going to be made? What's the issue here? It's almost as if you need talent and pedigree in order to get things made now. I see this as an absolute win. Looks like the days of diversity hires in Hollywood getting their way may be changing too, with Kido Shimizu, who's worked on stuff like Being Human, Legends of Tomorrow, and Arrow, stating, "For writers who are trying to pay their bills, it's really scary because we only make money if things sell." As a showrunner who is a—
Well, that's what happens when you guys went all crazy with the whole not getting paid or something. You was guys was getting paid some crazy ass money just writing, sitting down all day saying whoosh all day and expect things to work, and then you made fun of the people who said this crap is crap. What do you think is gonna happen? We try to warn y'all.
Queer woman of color and I can't get work? That's saying a lot. It's very frustrating. Notice how this Kido Shimizu person just said the quiet part out loud. They say they're a queer person of color and that it should somehow mean they are obligated to have work thrown at them, yet now they can't get into anything. It's almost like your identity doesn't matter when it comes to making things and your talent does. And the fact things are changing in Hollywood means people like this who are just pushing wokeness and diversity nonsense are being kicked to the curb. I'm not saying queer people shouldn't work in TV. I don't care who writes what as long as the writing is great. But the truth is, based on what this Kido Shimizu person worked on, like Arrow and Legends, I mean, those shows were written like absolute garbage at times. And it's not surprising all the shows this Kido Shimizu person worked on were all CW productions as well. So it looks like the woke mind virus is, at least to some degree, being halted or sidelined for the time being. Apparently, a lot of these writers who can't find work are turning to other jobs like bartending, Uber Eats, or going into other fields like But frankly, the mass exodus that is currently happening when it comes to writers and what gets made and doesn't is really a collective failure on all fronts. They had the opportunity to make content that could usher in a new era. The ESG money was cheap and easy to get, so studios hired all of these people who likely wouldn't have these opportunities if not for that need for pandering.
Hey, guys, blame your Lord and Savior, Larry Fink. Blame him. This is all his forced behaviors. It'll never get out of my head. That will never leave my mind. Imagine if a dude said, I need to force a behavior upon this woman. See how that works.
content, and it pretty much failed across the board, and studios are reeling in losses and they need to make profits.
That would be wild.
They tried it the woke way. It didn't work clearly, so studios
So inappropriate.
are now
No.
going in a different direction.
What the hell?
And ultimately what's happening in Hollywood is of their own making, because this wouldn't have happened if they made great content
Forced
that resonated
behaviors.
with people, but they didn't, clearly. I can only hope that the games industry takes a page out of Hollywood here and applies the same level of purge as well. Because movies have shown that when you do things like this and push it, nothing works, and video games of course take longer to make, so the changes also take longer as well to come into effect. And I think while we may not see it immediately, we will eventually see a similar exodus in gaming as well. Technically, we already did see it somewhat a bit with all the mass layoffs, but that was mostly done because the live service bubble had burst across the board. And a lot of these employees who were working on live service offerings got laid off in the process. However, when it comes to the games industry, the woke is so deep at this point, it's like a bunch of mini Disneys all over, and I think if things like
He's
the
not
Magical
wrong, it feels that
Society of
way.
whatever movie failing,
It
or
really
these
does feel that
community
way.
managers running and hiding like cockroaches when you shine a light on them, things are clearly changing. Things like Stellar Blade will change the industry, although I think the resistance towards it is going to be insane of course as well. I should also let you know that in the coming week in a bit, there's apparently going to be some big pro-Sweet Baby anti-Gamergate content being pushed from various areas of the games industry. So just keep a heads up and look out for that. I have heard this from a very credible source, believe me. And we may also hear from Alyssa Mercanti of Kotaku soon as well. Remember, around a month ago, she was looking for dirt on YouTubers like Melanie Mack. So I think we're about to see some major pushback from the games industry in the next coming week or two, so stay tuned for that and keep vigilant. We can change this industry and they can throw whatever they want at us, it won't stop it.
Okay, that's Endymion. Like, subscribe, share, follow, and comment. I hope you guys enjoy this and like great stuff. This was awesome, and hope you guys like it. And give them a follow. Also, give a follow too. Do these reactions. I see you guys in the next one. Laters. Alright, now we're gonna do our final one. I'll let Bri pick either 2024 Anime Survival Guide or top 10 new anime overpowered MC Winter 2024. You get the pick, Bri. Spring or winter? Spring or winter, my bro? You get the pick.
Raiga Samurai. String.
Spring, okay. He says string, but I know what you mean. Alright, let's go. So this is Spring 2024 Survival Guide by the Weeb Commander, or Commando? I think it's Commander. So he's going to give us some recommendations, and let's see where this goes.
Come out and say that the Winter 2024 season was one of the worst seasons of anime we've had in a couple of years, but it was close. In fact, I believe this season had the least amount of shows I was keeping up with that I've had since I started being an anime content creator over 3 years ago. Things were a bit slow, and this is partially due to the fact that a lot of the shows that we figured would be guaranteed hits really weren't. Like Ninja Kamui and The Witch and the Beast turned out to be way worse.
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw Ninja Kamui, I was like, I don't know about this one. Like, I couldn't say it out loud, but I knew when I looked at it, I'm like, okay, it doesn't look like it's changing anything outside the box, but it looks like it doesn't look like nonsense. Well, it's an anime, so it doesn't look like, it doesn't look woke or stupidness or anything like that. It looks like it would be on Toonami, which I think it plays on Toonami now. If Toonami's still around. But, yeah, when I looked at it, I was like, it looks generic. Doesn't look anything too crazy. But then again, I was like, I don't really see myself watching this. I can see myself watching more One Piece before I go watch this.
Worse than we anticipated. I mean, yeah, the fights in Ninja Kamui were some of the best choreo I've ever seen in anime.
But story-wise, it just doesn't look all that engaging. The fight scene is probably pretty good, but I don't know about the story.
But wow, was the writing terrible. And
Oh,
the only
there
thing
you
worse
go.
than the writing was the English dub, which is crazy for a Toonami show. On top of that, the 4
Oh, he was right. It was on Toonami.
Mashal, solo leveling, Delicious in Dungeon, and a new season of Classroom the Elite really tells you all you need to know about this season of anime. Though both Delicious in Dungeon and Solo Leveling impressed me in ways I didn't think they would, and Mashal is always a fun watch, even though this arc is entirely ripped from Naruto. Those being your top for anime of the season is a bit like looking at the current Gokage in Naruto and thinking that that's good enough to roll over the strongest version of the universe ever. But enough about the pessimism. We have much better days ahead of us, as I believe that the Spring 2024 roster is one of the best rosters we've gotten in years. I mean, we're talking Spring 2021 levels of hype. When we got MHA's 5th season, To Your Eternity, Odd Taxi, Tokyo Revengers' 1st season, 86, Fruit Basket's final season, and Vivi Fluoride Eye's song, all in one.
I could never know how to pronounce that till now.
Season, which is why today I want to sit down and give you a slight rundown on the plot of all the anime that I'm hyped for that are coming up in Spring 2024. And thus I want to help convince you why you should keep up with the anime that I am keeping up with. And hopefully, because we're going to be talking about so many different upcoming anime, in this list you'll find one of those anime that'll tickle your fancy. Because today we're talking everything you need to know for the Spring 2024 anime season. But before we get to convincing you to spend more time watching TV this upcoming spring, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. And if you like the idea of getting weekly rundowns on all of these anime, go ahead and follow my anime podcast, Otaku's Anonymous, where me and Danny Mata break down everything that happens in anime and manga every single week. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And if you're going to try and find more time this upcoming spring to find anime, then you should look the part and go ahead and meander on over into my merch store, otakusanonymous.net, where you can pick up some of the greatest anime t-shirts, sweatshirts, and sticker packs on demand. So this video is probably titled something like Everything You Need to Know Before the Spring 2024 Anime Season. I don't want to mislead you here. We're doing a ranked and explained video. And while we could go through the My Anime listing of all the seasonal Spring 2024 anime that are coming out in the next coming weeks, and that's a lot of work, and I know next to nothing about more than half of those projects. So instead we're going to be tackling this video in the only way I deem logical to tackle videos like this, and that is that I'm going to be going over the anime that I'm most hyped for in the Spring 2024 season in order of the level of my hype. That is to say that the first entry on our list I'll be the least hyped about, and the last I'll be the most hyped about. It's subjective. I'm sorry, but we will be talking about where these listings fall in the My Anime list in terms of how many people are anticipating to watch this show. So you'll be getting the popularity rankings as well, amongst other things like a synopsis, an explanation of who's animating it, and why to watch this show. Now that the rules are out of the way, let's get to the first entry on our list. Windbreaker. Now, well, the natural conclusion to draw here from me saying
I still want to watch that. I'm hoping it's not trash, but I've been hoping to watch that. It looks pretty promising. It looks like a better Tokyo Revengers for some odd reason.
Saying that Windbreaker is at the bottom of my list is that I don't think Windbreaker is going to be very good. But in actuality, that couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, out of all of the anime coming out in the Spring 2024 season, I believe that Windbreaker has the highest probability of becoming the dark horse, a show that relatively few people are waiting for that blows up into massive popularity. The best comparison I can think of in recent years is Tengoku Daimakia, or The Heavenly Delusion, a show that a lot of people didn't feel the need to check in for week 1, but by the time that week 4 or 5 rolls around, everybody is watching.
Let's go, boys. It's showtime.
The Nick, if you have such high hopes for Windbreaker, why is it so low?
But what I do know is that it's a story about a boy whose name is Hakura Sakura, which is an incredible name.
Wow, that's your name?
Hakura Sakura.
No, Hakura Sakura.
Wow.
Hakura Sakura.
I kind of wish it was Hakura Sakura.
I thought it was Sakaru too, but when they put a but they might even say Ru just to fuck with me. So like Jesus, like what kind? That is just on the nose. Like that was like purposely being a dick.
And Hakura wants to fight his way to the top of his delinquent high school, as Hakura has been sent to a reformation school of swords where brawn and might are the only things that matter. Thus, once he stands atop of his delinquent high school, he will be the strongest delinquent in his town. And thus, it's a relatively cut and dry delinquency high school story about a character who beats those around him and slowly but surely amasses a following of delinquents.
I love when men are like this in these animes. They're dressed very well, very stylish. And they want to hurt each other. Wow.
Is to say, former enemies become friends, and thus Hakuro will slowly but surely amass power until eventually he's rise to the top of the ranks of all delinquents. But if this is such a vanilla white toast story, why do I believe it will do so well in the upcoming season? Well, that's because of the absolutely historic fall off of Tokyo Revengers. You can say that Tokyo Revengers is so much more than a delinquency story, as there's also the erased-esque mechanic where Takemichi is able to go back to the future and then pop back to the past to make sure that the future is changed for the better. We'd all be lying to ourselves if we said that Takemichi going back to the future was even close to the best part of Tokyo Revengers. The Tokyo Revengers' rise to power in 2021 was like nothing I'd ever seen before, but the poor animation and Takemichi being the main character slowly but surely killed all hype that show had. That and the fact that it became a Hulu exclusive, and once you take something off Crunchyroll, it loses a lot of steam, especially in America. And ever since the fall off of Tokyo Revengers, the world has been looking for a lovable delinquency story. And I believe that Windbreaker has the capacity to answer that yearning, because Windbreaker has all the things that made Tokyo Revengers great. Brawls, great character design, a ripping J-Rock soundtrack, and more than anything, lovable monsters as MCs. But it also has what Tokyo Revengers lacked, which is an MC who can stand up for himself and good animation.
You hear that? We don't like wimpy. We don't want no wimp. We don't want him to be wimpy and then become someone. You're a someone. Let's be some ass. That's all they want. That's what we've been begging for here in America too. We don't want no more of these wimp boys. Please.
I would say from what we've seen thus far that Windbreaker's animation style looks better than good, because Windbreaker is being animated by Cloverworks. And if that sounds familiar to you, it should, because they're the people who animated Promised Neverland,
Samurai.
Bunny Girl Senpai,
LMAO.
Spy Family, Darling in the Franxx, Horimiya,
go.
and so much more. And it looks like in Windbreaker, they're debuting a new type of animation style that I think could revolutionize how anime is approached. See, it appears as though, from what I've seen from the promotional videos, that Windbreaker is going to be animated in an almost imperceptible mix of 2D and 3D animation. That is to say, and I can't really confirm as to whether or not this is true or not,
hey,
that
let's see.
Cloverworks has somehow found a way to make CGI look hand-drawn in order to increase fluidity in combat without losing detail. I say this because the way that the characters move in the promotional content makes me feel as though it is CGI, but it looks hand-drawn. And the versatility and ease of animation that comes along with CGI, if you can make it look good, is a massive upgrade to the animation industry. So all in all, even if it is just to see if Cloverworks is about to bust open the anime industry as a whole, I believe this show is a must-watch. But what's crazy is that Windbreaker isn't even the only anime that Cloverworks is coming out with in spring 2024, as Cloverworks is also animating the next entry on our list, the long-anticipated return of Black Butler, which hasn't aired a season in
all the girls are just losing their mind. Oh my god, see, there go. That's all they're making. You girls are sick.
Years. Yes, that's right. Season 3 of Black Butler, the last season, came out in 2014. So this season, which will be the 4th of Black Butler, is covering the public school arc in the manga, where CL goes to a high-class, high-powered boys' school in London that's been dealing with a rash of disappearances of its students.
Every girl's gonna lose their mind.
More Black Butler would get the child inside of me who's stuck in 2012 as excited as they've ever been. I don't have a huge amount of faith for the idea of this return, and it has nothing to do with Black Butler as an IP. Okay, I mean, it's got a little bit to do with Black Butler as an IP. See, there has been a litany of anime from the early 2010s that have made a long-anticipated return in the last couple of years, like Blue Exorcist and The Devil is a Part-Timer. And in almost all of these circumstances, I think Blue Exorcist is kind of exempt from this. The original hype that revolves around this IP returning kind of disappears after the first episode. Now, you could say this happens for a myriad of different reasons. I know personally I didn't watch season 2 of The Devil's a Part-Timer because they changed the art style, and the new art style made me really uncomfortable.
I don't know, but it kind of made me mad too. I did not like the new art style. Maladine almost looked different, like completely different. Almost didn't look recognizable. It looked like a whole different MC from a different show. That pissed me off. I liked how he originally looked. Mal was funny. I don't know if the story is even funny anymore, because it was genuinely funny. I think the funniest things that Mal said is when he was arguing with the hero woman with the red hair when they first made it to Earth, and they was being accused, or Mal kind of made himself at home in Earth. He didn't want to go back to the thing. And this woman was thinking he was up to no good. Ended up fighting with him on the street. Got arrested, kind of, sort of. And then got let go within 24 hours or a couple of hours. And then he got on his bike, about to go home to his apartment. And she's like, where are you going? He's like, I'm going the hell home. What do you want? He's like, she's like, you and your butler going home? That's very suspicious. You, or something about, something is being suspicious for you to go live with your assistant or something like that. And he's like, lady, listen, I'm just trying to make it through. Can you please leave me alone? She's like, you're up to something. It's wrong for other grown men to live with other grown men. Lady, you got problems. Like, this man was so engulfed with the whole hustle bustle of life, he did not care about going back home. And the fact that he had that just ready to be shot at her, I was like, this dude is different. This one's built different.
Like
you really want all grown men to live with other grown men? Lady, you seriously got problems.
The way that IPs don't do as well as they did in the early 2000s.
Actually, now saying that is probably a hate crime.
10 years can change your taste in anime. If you ask 17-year-olds Nick what the best anime ever created were, I would tell you SAO and High School DxD. And unfortunately, I think Black Butler is going to suffer from this tastes have changed symptom more than any other IP we've seen come back after a long break, as Black Butler was an acquired taste in 2012 when Tumblr ran the internet, and the idea of a little detective running around with a grown devil who definitely isn't hitting on him was
every feminist young girl's grown woman's dream. For some odd reason, I don't know what's wrong with you women. You like the idea of grown men trying to grow up on a little boy dressed like a girl, or I think it's a girl. Is it a girl?
No, it's a boy. The reason why he dressed as a girl that time is to tell
the Tumblr girls this is okay.
No,
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
No, he was trying to get rid of the girl that liked him. So he was trying to pretend to be a girl so he can leave her alone.
That's not convoluted. That's just dumb.
It is dumb, and even the butler said, "This is dumb."
It is dumb. That's dumb.
Enough to get 3 seasons.
That's
but
big
now,
dumb.
In 2024, that idea may not be as popular as it originally was, but Cloverworks is animating it, and
that sounds like something
animation
a feminine
does
would
look
like.
stunning, and it is a well-established IP. So
Something
I'm gonna check out the first
convolutedly
couple of
dumb.
episodes. And if you recently watched Black Butler and enjoyed it, then this is massive news for you. Or if you were the world's biggest Black Butler fan back in the day, then this is also massive news for you. I just watched Black Butler back in the day. I wasn't
Back
like, oh my
in
god,
middle
I'm gonna
school,
watch
my
this 4 times.
ex-girlfriend loved her some Black Butler.
I don't know why girls obsess over this show. I think it's just the fact they like the idea of a boy in a dress.
No, we just like Sebastian.
Right, it's Sebastian. Yes, it's Sebastian. Yeah. Not the pedophilic things he be doing and saying.
I know about that.
Yeah. It's the equivalent of y'all saying, I like Kizuka. I'm like, why? Why do you like Kizuka? Like, I'm not saying bro don't slap, but like, boy will slap, if you get what I mean. And he don't even play that. And you know what's really messed up? This man, we already know what this man's about, right? And the show betrays this man as attractive. Because Bisky was like fawning over this man.
No,
Biscuit or something. Oh, Bisky? I'm thinking of something else. No, I'm thinking of a different anime. But I'm thinking of a different anime. But like, she was fawning over this man.
Samurai. Boy will slap, LOL.
Boy will slap. And not in ways you think. He will slap.
Same way that I've seen the first season.
Don't stand behind him or in front of him.
Coming out with its 3rd season in spring 2024, which is wild because it didn't even feel popular when its 1st season came out. And
yes.
I know so little about what happened in season 2, and I barely remember what happened in season 1. We're not even putting that on the list. But you know what we are putting on the list right above Black Butler? Data Live 5. I can't believe I just said that either. And listen,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna admit it. I've never watched Data Live. I always think I'm saying the title wrong. I don't like I have never watched Data Live. I know my girlfriend said she wanted to give it a try, but I was like, oh no, look like one of them harems. Like, it doesn't seem like it'll be good because it's a harem, and not like a good harem. It's just a harem. I don't know, but maybe I should give it a try. I never watched it, but it got a 5th season, so it must be doing something good.
For
I have back in high school.
Yeah, like that was back when I was in high school or so. Like at least in my I was in 10th grade, 9th grade, 9th, 10th, 11th grade, like between 10th or 11th grade. Oh man.
You're probably wondering why Data Live 5 is so high on this list. Hell, some of you are probably...
Soul Eater?
That.
Soul Eater of all things needs a reboot. Like a genuine reboot or
a remaster.
Or no
I'd rather remaster than a reboot because reboot's gonna change.
Yeah. Remaster, reboot. Remaster. It needs a remaster and retelling of that story. That fight between Maka and the Kishin was kind of dumb. At first, as a kid, I didn't think nothing was wrong with it because I was too memorized by the animation. But as a grown adult, that was dumb as hell.
Yeah,
that was dumb as hell. Like she punching. Like it was lackluster because she didn't use the Genie Hunter move from her mom. She just kind of ran up on this dude and punched him.
I only watched Data Live for Kuromi.
Ah, okay, I see.
You know what anime
I gotta watch it.
A rethink is 2 of them. I think it was Gear Gad and
I told you. I said this last week.
Gear Gad and Princess Tutu.
Ugh.
Oh come on.
Ugh.
Come on.
Oh man, you are talking 2006. This is when my aunt had Tebow, and she got free anime if you go in the section and you watch anything. It had free air gear. It gave you 3-4 episodes for free. And to hell with Tebow, cause it got me hooked on air gear, and I couldn't watch the episodes because you have to actually pay a fee. Because that was like pay-per-view. That was the thing, pay-per-view. That was the Fortnite of that time.
That was the pay to play.
Yes, you have to pay to play to watch air gear. So, and this is around the same time. YouTube became in fruition. YouTube came in 2006.
Oh, yeah, the parts.
Yeah.
You had to watch animes in parts.
Yes, I had to watch Air Gear from getting to end in parts. Some episodes was not even dubbed. I had to watch some of them in sub just to understand what the hell was going on with subtitles. And if it didn't have subtitles, oh man, you were screwed. Like you didn't know what the hell was going on.
True. I also did watch a good portion of Lucky Star in parts as well.
Like that show was like every time I look at Air Gear, I just see Jet Set Radio, the anime. That's how it feels to me every time I watch it. Or you hear the music, it just sounds like Jet Set Radio.
Me with Fairy Tale.
There we go.
Yeah.
It just made me mad, and then I was introduced to Princess Tutu on the same Tebow when she had Tebow. When recording your episode, your favorite show, one show was like revolutionary. Now we got streaming.
Yeah. No, it was
you got TiVo? Ew, you live in the past, bye.
It was like TiVo and then DirecTV records.
Yeah.
And then it dropped.
Yeah, it dropped once Netflix came in.
No,
it was over.
Netflix took a while because they used to send you CDs and used to be a part of GameFly.
Yeah, but wait, what was part of GameFly?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Are you serious?
I am serious.
Why do I not have memory of this?
Of Netflix.
What the hell?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense now.
Wondering why Data Live is on this list at all? Nick, you're incredibly well spoken about the fact that you don't enjoy harem anime. You've grown out of them. Right? Well, I have.
Right.
But I've begun to rethink that opinion. See, here's the thing. There was a time in my life when Data Live was my favorite, not even just anime, but maybe thing on Earth. And I'm not ashamed to say that. For those of you who were happy as children, or maybe just popular, Data Live is a story where an event called a spatial quake shakes the Earth and kills 150 million people.
Wait, whoa. What? Should I? Fuck it.
And for the next 30 years, smaller spatial quakes continue.
I would skip it, but I'm like, my girl
will
would go want me to watch it with her anyway.
None
So
of them are good. And therefore, in the first episode of this show, it's
yeah, I know, but I try to fight that a lot. I know I do that same thing. I remember when my girlfriend used to say, and I broke her out of this, where she will like, I don't know about the anime. Read it. Read is what about. Don't do that. I came to this realization. Never ever read the bio of an anime. Do not do this. Because once you read a bio of an anime not knowing what it is, what you're going to read is going to sound so generically stupid that you're going to be like, nah, sounds boring. Because what's going to happen, what keeps people connected to an anime is three things. Show but not tell, art style, and overall tone and pacing. These are the four. I said it's three. It's actually four. It's four things, and probably sound design. 5 things actually. Because you can watch if you look at Ear Gear is kind of basic. Like story wise, it's pretty basic. It's not doing anything revolutionary, but because the show, the characters are likable, the soundtrack is good, and the pacing is. It could be hit or miss on some. Yeah, it could be really breakneck to like really, like it's a weird place. But then again, it's like because I like these characters and I actually like what happens to them. Therefore, I'm going to burrow through this sense of pacing. Right? It's like that. Because if you go based on what something said, you're going to say no 9 times out of 10.
What the hell is even that?
Oh no, we're near done. But yeah. So like that's why That's why I don't like reading because it'll kill the whole fun. Because you might find something you really like. You might actually genuinely find something super generic, but you might like the art style. Like for instance,
says hi, Chrissy.
I haven't seen World Trigger. Is that what it's called? World Trigger? And it looks generic as hell, but it has like 6 seasons or something. And I think there's another season coming. But people seem to like this fucking show, and I don't know what it. No, it's called World Trigger or something. It looks generic as hell.
Actually, there's another one like Cheese Sweet Life. If you actually read the bio for it, it says stray cat gets lost and finds his new home. Literally, that's it.
It says stray cat gets lost and finds a new home.
Yes.
But really, it's a grown woman.
No. No. You're thinking about Chi Bits.
Oh.
You keep mixing those two up.
Oh, okay.
Cheese Sweet Life is about a little cat living.
Oh! I know. But the what you call what's her name? Vivi tells me.
Like, that anime is so hard with 3D. Why would they do this?
Oh, save money and cost.
Just left it the same way and just gave it an English dub.
She said the gap between real. The gap between real. What does that mean?
I hate that that's important. That the cause of these spatial quakes is because of all these magical girls or spirits from other dimensions ending up in Earth's dimension, and then it's revealed that
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. As soon as I'm done with Bean's drawing, and I draw the 3 boys.
Doesn't match the hairline.
Let me see. The bang don't trust the hairline. Oh! Don't worry. That'll be fixed. I'll fix that.
I think she's talking about that top half.
Oh, she's talking about this top half?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about here?
Yeah.
I can always fix that. I can just put these two together. Don't worry. It looks really weird. I know it looks like it's too wide.
It looks like you're trying to hide the hair.
Yeah.
I think it's high up.
Yeah, it's way too high. It makes her head look huge. I understand. I'll get rid of this. I thought she meant here. I got you. I saw it earlier. I was like, man, that's really distracting. And it's really like you can't stop looking at this gap.
Trying to work around it to see.
I wanted to see if I could do it, but then again, it's not working. So what I can do is just slap it together real quick. I can just connect it back.
Student has the ability to seal these spirits' powers
so
they can't continue.
So I'm sorry, I keep pausing it, guys. I'm so sorry. The one thing I'm gonna do when I'm done drawing Bean's thing, I think from now on, from this point on, once I'm done with the 3 OC boys, what I'm gonna do is just. I'm going to we're gonna work a lot on what do you call it? Drawmations. I'm gonna be doing a lot of drawmations. I think we do too much of the speed arts. I think they're fine, but I don't think they're killing the same way as they used to. So we're gonna be doing a bunch of drawmations. So if you guys have some sound effects that you found on TikTok, please send them to me. This is to my mods mainly. So if you find any of them, send them to me. I'll try to use them as best as I can. And I'm not gonna make them random. I'm gonna send them. I'm gonna use them for like One Piece stuff, Naruto stuff, Gundam stuff. JJK stuff, My Hero Academia stuff.
Would you do your own OC?
Says Coconut.
I eventually will. And I guess video game stuff, because you guys saw how that Overwatch thing blew up.
You already know I sent you billions of stuff law.
Oh, I know. But that's going to be the main focus.
Says I have sound for you teach.
So yeah, because soon as I'm done with the 3 OC boys, then I'll just focus most of my time on that.
Beanie Baby.
Fall in love with him and then seal their powers with a kiss. And while this sounds ridiculous,
just to be clear, guys, I'm right now doing a reaction. So if you want to hear the animes that this dude is recommending, come over here on either Twitch, YouTube, Trovo, or whatever platform you want. You won't be able to hear it on here on TikTok.
Says Erinichi hope things
because
are
it
well.
is, if you have a hole in your heart in
Says,
the
will you
shape
be
of
busy
attention
tonight, or
from
do
the
you
gender
wanna
you're
hang out?
attracted to, this show will guaranteed
I think I
keep
can
you
hang
from
out
joining
tonight,
Kurt
but I'll let
Cobain
you know.
for at least a
I'll send you a
little bit.
message,
Now,
I promise.
I haven't watched the show since season 2 came out in 2014. A decade ago. But this may be the last ever season of this show, as the end of season 4 adapted up until volume 17. And there's only 22 volumes in the entirety of Data Live, meaning there's only 50-ish chapters left in this story, which means that if season 5 is 12 episodes, it'll probably adapt somewhere between 24 and 36 chapters. Now that also means if they run 24 episodes, they could just adapt all 50. So will I hop back on the Data Live train? Maybe if Dorothy leaves for a weekend, I can feel the angry, lonely, and sad 17-year-old inside of me reaching out to the IP. Though I would also have to watch season 3, all the additional movies, season 4, and then watch season 5. So,
oh Lord, for only you know the way. No, it doesn't apply to this god.
Says who's that Pokemon? It's Beanie Baby.
It's a lot of harem anime to get caught up on. If I ever start to look worse, it's because I started Data Live. After the only harem anime to still hold a place in my heart, we have a show that's been torturing me for the last week because it's been shown as watchable on Crunchyroll when all they have on Crunchyroll is a promotional video. Because coming up next, we got
the kaiju thing. Okay. I wanted to see this for the longest while. This is not out yet? What?
I haven't seen this before.
Yeah, you see the trailer. You just don't remember the trailer. Look.
Number 8. Now, in a less
You've
packed
seen the
season,
trailer.
Kaiju number 8 would be top of my list in hype. And
Says
probably
the
top
sound
of
they'll make will
everybody's
be
list in
unholy.
hype. But in this season, Kaiju number 8 came in 7th in the popularity contest the people
Oh my god,
anime.
it's corn.
Second part of the second season of The Misfit at Demon King Academy, which is literally just the reskinning of the irregular at Magic School. But Kaiju number 8 also isn't the anime I'm most hyped about in this upcoming season, which is crazy. Because not only is this the only seinen on this list, seinen, for those of you who don't know, is shonen for older people. It's about a man in his 30s, which you almost never see in manga and anime. And this man lived his entire life fantasizing about joining an elite group in his world known as the Defense Corps, a group of high-level soldiers who battle against the ongoing and persistent threat of kaijus. However, because he was unremarkable, he at the age of 32 has decided to give up on his dreams and settle for cleaning up after the Defense Corps when they kill a kaiju because of the stability and the good paycheck. This is until a parasitic kaiju finds its way into his mouth and turns him into a kaiju. People are shifting into a kaiju form that's strong enough to go toe-to-toe with the likes of the strongest kaijus in his world. Now, Kaiju number 8's manga got massively popular a couple of years ago when it first dropped, and has since then been polling in the top 10 area of popularity polls of weekly released manga. And it is finally getting the anime adaptation it deserves. And being an elderly, as I am, I have begun to navigate closer and closer to seinen as opposed to shonen. Because, and feel free to call me weird here if you like, I'm finding it harder and harder to relate to teenagers. So this story revolving around a man who in his early 30s decides to reinvigorate his passion for pursuing his dreams, and in the midst of trying once again to accomplish the thing he's always wanted, actually gets a chance to do said thing, is a lot more of an exciting pitch for me for a second chance at life story than some loser neat who beats his mother for food, dies in a crosswalk, and then gets dropped into a mystical world where there's 17 underaged women really yearning for him. And therefore, I would say that Kaiju number 8 is exactly what the anime world needs right now. Not to mention Toho, animated Dr. Stone, JJK Season 1, Akame ga Kill, all the good seasons of MHA, and Haikyuu is animating it. And everything we've seen from the promotional videos given to us thus far has shown us that
what?
underaged women really yearning for him. And therefore, I would say that Kaiju number 8 is exactly what the anime world needs right now. Not to mention Toho, who animated Dr. Stone, JJK Season 1, Akame ga Kill, all the good seasons of MHA, and Haikyuu is animated. And everything we've seen from the promotional videos given to us thus far has shown us that A, the comedy from the manga is being perfectly conveyed in the anime, and B, the fights are going to look gorgeous. So if you can only make room for a couple of anime this season, make sure that Kaiju number 8 is one of them. Especially if you're old. Now, this is going to sound somewhat backwards, but you're probally old if you're a fan of our next entry on this list, MHA.
And the funny thing is, I'm actually using the previous drawing I did for you as a reference. I'm actually looking at it like I actually did make the hair a little bit, the bangs too high up.
Coming out with its 7th season,
redesign that hairline.
Old, you're probably sad because somehow MHA is sitting at number 5 in my anime list's popularity list for upcoming anime, which is a crazy thing to say out loud and something I wouldn't have believed if you told me 4 years ago.
Isn't MHA season 5? I thought it was in season 6.
No. Says lol, he got something against hairlines.
What the hell? Okay, it's season 7, right? HMA is
have you fix it though.
Like season 7. So wait, if it's season 7, isn't the show at the end of its peak?
Yep. Says Erinichi Ha.
Should be right now, right?
There was a time that MHA held the anime world by the throat. Now, 3 good anime and a story about a sexual offender have more people waiting to watch their upcoming seasons than MHA's 7th season. And what's truly crazy is that season 7 has a fair shot at being one of MHA's greatest, as season 7 will cover the first half of MHA's
Says I will be sad that my
with key
show is
battles
ending.
like Annie Voice and Ducal Arms versus Spinner, Stars and Stripes versus Shigaraki, and literally so much more. Pretty much from the moment episode 1 drops, we are going to get fight after fight after fight of consequence, and therefore the season is going to be undoubtedly one of the most hectic and action-packed we've ever seen from this IP. So,
oh yeah, no. Wait, hold on, no. We did a reaction video on this. They're not ending Bluey. They're just taking a break. I remember they said this. I know what you're talking about. They're taking a break from Bluey to write about a boy's awakening of his sexuality. I'm dead serious. I'm not kidding. We did a video on this. Clips, what was it? Clownfish TV. They're making a woke show about a child's sexuality is awakening. Don't know why. And they trade that off to go do Bluey.
They're selling the house.
Oh, damn. They're selling the house? I heard they're just... Because the animator said they're taking a break from Bluey, I guess. But then again, they may have... Oh, then again, times are tough, so they may be changing things within time. So they may be just canceling the show and just saying, let's just end it.
Oh, man.
While it's like at its highest peak.
That's kind of bumming.
Yeah.
Haven't done a stellar job with the last couple of seasons, and I worry with how recently season 6 was released, literally
because they keep changing things every
Bones
time
hasn't
because
had
they
the
know
time
that
to
woke
animate
shit
the
ain't working.
literal litany of very important fights they need to
I wouldn't be surprised if that show gets axed before it even hit the ground.
in the way that those fights deserve to be animated. Listen, I have no doubt in my mind that Stars and Stripes versus Shigaraki is going to be impressive. It has to be. But there's also like 7 other either majorly important or minorly important battles that will happen in this season. And it's those fights that I'm worried about. And to think that every single one of those fights was given the attention they deserved, all done
they don't
in
want to
1
ruin
year,
something good.
Seems kind of like a stretch to me. But if somehow
they should
does
just
pull
focus
off,
on
which I would
Bluey
say
cause
is
it's actually
a
good.
chance right now. Unfortunately, I think I know how the MHA story ends. And the MHA story is currently building its way towards one of the most boring and predictable endings in the last decade of manga. And therefore, watching the anime just doesn't feel important anymore. But hey, here's the hope and I'm wrong. After MHA, we have another massively popular IP, possibly barreling towards catastrophe. Because after MHA, we have Demon Slayer's Hashira training arc. Now, I hesitate to even put this on the list of spring 2024 anime because it doesn't come out until May 12th.
I've learned never, when you're doing the shading on the hair.
So good with Bluey, they don't want to make something that will ruin it.
I understand. I always learned this. When you're doing the shading on the hair, never use square shapes. Use only triangles. Use triangles. I learned this. And I did this because I learned this because if you want your hair to look like hair, use more triangles. I've been doing a bunch of studies.
You did that?
Yes.
Jesus.
I've been doing a bunch of studies on anime hair as of recently, and I'm getting a good handle on it. Now this is super saturated, but this is something I might do more often for the hair, because yeah, like the hair, this is what it looks like without the. This is what it originally looks like, and this is my version with this. Well, this is mixed around. Looks even better mixed around. So I might even do this.
It really brings in the eyes.
Yeah.
This is weird.
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing more of this. I'm gonna apply this same thing to Bean's hair just to see how much I can get away with this technique. I want to see if it can work.
You know what another anime thing to bring
Raiga
back?
Samurai.
What?
Cool.
Tiger and Bunny.
Tiger and Bunny?
It's
I'll
about
give it a
being
chance.
Says I was like, that's not Teach's art style, but you're talking about the hair.
No, the drawing there, I did not draw that. Did not draw that. This was, a lot of you will see this on YouTube. This is something that was made in YouTube by a YouTuber.
Says Tiger and Bunny is good.
And he gave this in his descriptions for you to practice with. So if you want to practice with it, you go to the YouTuber. I forgot what his YouTube channel. Just type in anime hair, you'll pop up. This has been making its rounds lately, so like if you want to check it out, you can.
Month behind every other seasonal release. And I mean, sure, MHA is coming out on May 4th, but that's still a whole week after MHA. Slime Isekai is coming out April 5th. That's 5 weeks behind Slime Isekai. But the thing is, Demon Slayer's delayed release kind of makes sense. A lot more than MHA's at least, because the Hashira training arc is 9 chapters long. So with
9 chapters
anime pacing,
long?
that is at most 4 episodes. But 3 episodes is probably the much more accurate guess. But that would still only put us ballpark 8 to 9 weeks into the spring anime season, which means that either Demon Slayer is going to start 5 weeks into the season and then end 3 weeks early, or they'll adapt 3 to 4 weeks worth of Infinity Castle. And as it currently stands, I don't know what they're gonna do, as all of the promotional content they've dropped thus far only references the Hashira training arc. But let me tell you right now, while it is nice to have Inosuke and Zenitsu back in the story, if they only adapt the 9 chapters that are the Hashira training arc, it will be the worst season in Demon Slayer history. Well, obviously, that's a very high bar, as Swordsmith Village, which is considered to be the worst season of Demon Slayer, is still very good. Releasing a 3-episode mini-season would not be a good look for Demon Slayer, because even though the Swordsmith Village arc was good, at least I thought it was good, a lot of people are upset about it, but I think Bones and the showrunners that run Demon Slayer know this, and thus, after the Hashira training arc, we will get the beginning of the Infinity Castle arc, which will be absolutely massive for the fandom, as the Infinity Castle arc is undeniably the best arc in the manga. And because I believe, genuinely, that we're going to get 3 to 4 episodes of the Infinity Castle arc at the end of the Hashira training arc, that's why Demon Slayer is so high on my list. Because trust me, if it was just the Hashira training arc, which is a glorified training montage, it would have been below Windbreaker. It would be borderline not worth watching if it was just that. So we're going to have to grit our teeth through a 3 to 4 episode training arc, but we're going to be rewarded at the end with 3 to 4 episodes of the greatest arc in Demon Slayer history. And at the very least, that training arc is going to look super pretty, because Ufotable somehow has infinite money. I mean, they have Demon Slayer, which for the last 6 years has been a money printing factory. Says why? You afraid of an itsy bitsy spider? Now, after Demon Slayer, we have a project that I'm very excited about that you probably haven't heard about yet, and that would be none other than Go Loser Ranger, which I know feels high for an anime being made by Yostar Pictures, whose claim to fame is Arc Knights and Azur Lane. I know, 2 massive anime that everybody's seen. But stick with me here. Go Loser Rangers is what happens when you mix the boys with Power Rangers. And as somebody who loves both of those things, I am very here for it. Basically, the story is that
I want to watch this. I've been kind of like eyeballing this show. I want to watch Go Loser Rangers. I want to see what this is about. It looks promising as hell.
Why do I feel like it's a Magical Man anime?
No, you gotta watch it. You didn't see the trailer?
No, but I feel like there's an anime about men being magical girls.
No, that's already on Netflix.
I know, but like for some reason I feel that vibe from it.
Only you girls will be like that. You girls will be
It's actually hilarious.
I know you and Ari will.
the events of the manga,
Jesus
Demon Army
Christ.
invades Earth, but that Demon Army is summarily defeated by the protectors of the
And-
Earth,
and
basically
being
Power
killed
Rangers
like
of
that
that Earth, the Dragon Keepers. And now every year, on the anniversary of the Dragon Keepers defeating the Demon Army, those who survive from the Demon Army are forced to relive and
What?
reenact their defeat at the hands of the very same Dragon Keepers. And this is done in
Are
a
you
massive
kidding?
arena that's televised to the entire nation. But these demons comprising this army aren't so different from the humans and the world that they were trying to take over. It's annoying and nauseating. And so the main character of the story, who's forced to relive this embarrassment every single year, attempts to find something known as the Divine Artifacts, which were weapons wielded by the Dragon Keepers, and are the only weapons in the universe that are able to destroy the immortal bodies of these demons. Now, these Divine Artifacts were collected by a demon who was actually able to
That's a
infiltrate
cool
the Dragon
sword. What the
Keepers
hell is that?
prior to the events of the manga. However,
There's a
after
rib cage
collecting
on the
those
sword,
Divine
bro. There's a rib cage on the sword.
I bet.
Bro, there's a rib cage on the sword. That is crazy. I see. This is why I love anime. I don't know what the hell's happening, and there's a rib cage on the sword. That's crazy.
They disappear.
It looks
The
cool.
story follows our main character, Foot Soldier D, or just D as he's known in the
Says
story, as he
Artextric
attempts to
goodness.
collect these divine artifacts and
That
use
is
them
cool
to kill
looking.
the Power Rangers, or Dragon Keepers. So if you like the boys, Power Rangers, or following an antagonist story, you're really gonna like this story. Now, the only hesitancy that I have in recommending it is that the Dragon Keepers appear to be animated using CGI, which might be a bit distracting. But outside of that, the show looks gorgeous, at least for an animation studio with so few critical hits. Now, after Go-Go Loser Ranger, we have
Says I'm so afraid of spiders, I don't like them at all.
Yeah, I'm more excited for two separate isekai than I am for demons.
I have never seen you freak out at a spider.
Me?
No.
Says I gotta know what's making the glossy squiggly line in the screen. I wanna touch it.
Squiggly?
Slayer, MHA, and Kaiju number 8. And the first of those isekai that I'm so excited
Not sure
for
what you're looking
is Slime Isekai, also known by its full name that time I got reincarnated as a slime. And while I'm aware it's one of those shows with a stupidly long title, and therefore you're like, oh, that's gotta be a dumb
Says there a
show.
line on
It
your
is, for all
screen.
intents and purposes,
A line on
the
the
perfect
screen.
isekai, and it hasn't released a new episode since 2021. Now, for those of you who haven't started Slime Isekai, it
I
is
think
one
some
of
of this.
2 good remaining isekai on Earth. It follows the
This is a
story of
reflection.
Rimuru, a man who's reincarnated
Says
into a
it's
mythical
glossy
world
reflection
as
on the
the
screen.
biggest monster
Yeah.
in that world.
Says yes.
Slime. But using his absorption ability, Rimuru slowly but
Says
surely
yes, that
absorbs
line.
more and more powerful magical entities until eventually he's about as broken as any MC isekai should be.
You know the people that pay attention when they
It sounds
see
like
the gloss.
every isekai.
Unlike
No, that's how
You're
good the
kind of
camera.
right, but
Says let's
Rimuru
name
is
it.
A, genderless and thus can be shipped both ways, and B,
Raiga Samurai.
actually intelligent, not
LOL.
pervy, convincingly powerful, and absolutely ruthless. On top of this, the world building in Slime Isekai is second to none, and thus the political scheming that happens in this show is next level. Basically, Rimuru is building a nation of monsters,
Okay.
where every class
Says
of
birth of the
monsters can
wiggly
come
line.
together and live in harmony. And while
Says
some
looks
nations
like
are
an inch
receptive to
warm.
this
Wiggle,
idea, as
wiggle,
there's
wiggle.
many demi-human classes that live amongst this nation of monsters, other nations are not, and thus other nations need to be destroyed. And therefore, for all intents and purposes, Slime Isekai is the perfect isekai, and season 3 is going to revolve around Rimuru battling his most powerful opponent yet, Hinata Sakaguchi, the wielder of the sword, the Dead-End Rainbow, capable of bypassing the
Dead-End
defenses of
Rainbow?
all that it slashes and slashing directly to the soul, which guarantees with 7
Says gotta
slashes
send me what the doggone looks
any
like.
power, he'll die.
Says
On
it's
top
the
of that,
new
the studio,
streaming pet.
8-Bit, that's animating Slime
Oh.
Isekai, really doesn't have any other critical successes. So it's going to be all hands on deck for this season. And they've had
on.
3 years to work on it. It also comes out April 5th, which I believe is the first out of all of the shows that we've talked about thus far. Go-Go Loser Ranger is April 7th. The Irregular Magic School is April 5th. Data Live is April 10th. Kaiju number 8 is April 13th. MHA is May 4th. Slime
Says
Isekai
another
is April
stream
5th.
pet.
Kimetsu no Yaiba,
Stream
Demon
pet.
Slayer is May 12th. And then our number 1 spot, which goes to another isekai, Konosuba, comes out April 10th. Yes, that's right. The top 2 entries
Konosuba.
on my list of hype coming up for spring 2024 are isekai. And I'm not even settling, because below that are MHA and Demon Slayer, because Konosuba is the other
Oh
of
god,
the
it's on
only
the
2
same
good
damn
isekai
thing!
left in existence.
Oh
For those
my
of you who
god,
haven't
bro.
watched Konosuba, A, What are you doing?
Raiga
And B,
Samurai.
join the
Let's
bandwagon
go
because
Hulu.
apparently Konosuba is the most
Put on
anticipated
the same
anime
damn
coming
layer.
in spring 2024. More than Demon Slayer.
damn it.
That is insane to me. But it makes sense because Konosuba is, and I mean this with my full chest, the funniest anime ever made. And we haven't gotten a new season since 2017. Now we did get a Megamine spin-off, but that wasn't good, so it doesn't count. Now for those of you who haven't jumped on the bandwagon yet, Konosuba is a story about a boy who goes to save a little girl who's about to get truck-cooned. That boy does save that little girl from her fate of becoming the main character of an isekai anime. However, where the story immediately differentiates itself from literally all other isekai is that he doesn't save the little girl. The truck stops, but he thinks he's gonna be hit by the truck,
So he
so
does
has
the
a heart
truck.
attack, and then he poops his pants, and then everybody in his life
He
is
shit
just
himself.
like, what a loser. After this, he's sent to purgatory of sorts, where he meets a goddess who's preparing him to be sent to a mythical world. And when he's told by this goddess that he can take one thing with him to this
The
next
fact that you die and come back, you're being sent to a mythical world, that's a
Sabine is
win.
blue and your color is blue and Mora is red, white, and blue and Bry is red and I'm green, lol.
We're all blue and red somewhere. like, I'm not gonna lie to you. If I were to die and I was being isekai, that's a win.
But you don't get your full life.
How do you know that?
Didn't you not send him fully grown?
No, they gave him option. They gave him option.
Raiga Samurai.
That's an option in this show.
Yep, LOL.
That's a win. Imagine all this time you've been told you're gonna go to hell. And you always wondered, you might be going to hell. And then you're like, nah, you're not going to hell, you just go to a different place.
I'm the only one that don't have the blue.
I'm like, yee, that's cool. That's a win.
mythical life, he chooses her, thinking she's some omnipotent god that's gonna help him in his next life. But she's not. She's completely useless. And so is basically everybody that Kazuma, our MC, ever recruits to help him. Specifically to help him in his battle against the Demon King who terrorizes the world that he's been teleported into. See, whether it's a mage who can use the strongest magic on Earth, but only once and then she faints, a goddess whose only ability is parlor tricks and purifying water, or a tank whose only a tank because she likes pain. Basically, everybody in the show is an idiot, and it's fantastic. Now, it's important to note that the show is stuffed to the gills with fan service, but less in a fan servicey way and more of a it's kind of funny to laugh about sexual things way. But if you're going to detract points from Konosuba for anything, it should probably be that. On top of that, a large plot point in this upcoming season is Kazuma going to the royal city to tell
we're about to
princess
finish.
of
We
the royal
got 2 minutes
family
left.
about his endeavors as a
We
hero,
got
and he
2
kind of
minutes
more than
left,
anything
but if
just
you want to go
wants her
sleep,
to
you
call
can.
him Big Brother because she's like a sweet, innocent little princess. But I'm pretty sure that's as far as his goals reached. I think it's been a while since I read the manga, but I think it's kind of innocent. And this show about 4 idiots trying to kill a demon king has more people waiting to watch it than MHA and Demon Slayer. By a lot. But then again, I'm putting it at the top of my list, so I guess that says something. And that's it. All the important anime coming out this season. Nothing else important coming out, just 2 and only 2 really good isekai. It's so crazy we're getting the only 2 good isekai still left coming out this season. And those 2 isekai are Slime Isekai and Konosuba. Slime Isekai and Konosuba. The only isekai coming out this season. So if you're gonna watch an isekai this season, watch those 2. Not that there's any other choice. Those are the only 2 isekai coming out this season. But I'm curious to hear from you guys. What are you excited to watch in this upcoming season? Tell me in the comments below. And while you guys are down there, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. Oh, I'm sorry. Also, as a reincarnated aristocrat, I'll use my appraisal skill as another isekai coming out. So there's 3.
Alright guys, we're done. So with that said, for those who are here, thank you for coming in, guys. I do appreciate my mods and everything like that. So have a great night, guys. Go rest up. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm gonna finish this at night. Get this ready for tomorrow. And then work on the 3 OC boys, and then after that, we're gonna be doing a bunch of. Yeah, I'll let you know. Alright, so I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Thank you for coming in, and give a follow to the Weeb Commando. I think Commander. Alright, I'm out, guys. Laters. Boop.
Says bye.